Welcome to our February 10th, 2026 regular meeting. And we will begin, as we usually do, with the reading of the district vision. And this time around, it is Mr. Kennedy.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. The district's vision is that the school district of Manatee County will be an exemplary, student-focused school system that develops lifelong learners to be globally competitive. And I also, as the chair mentioned, have the honor of doing the invocation tonight. So I tried to put together something that's short, sweet, but will be a good way to start. Let's begin with a moment of reflection. We gather in service to our community's children, mindful of something greater than ourselves. For those who find strength in faith, we invoke the divine to guide our deliberations with wisdom, compassion, and justice. We pause to remember those no longer with us, educators, students, parents, and community members whose contributions live on in our schools and in the lives they touched. We honor their memory by carrying forward their dedication to learning and service. Let us cultivate gratitude for the opportunity to serve, for our dedicated teachers and staff, and for families who partner with us, and for the privilege of participating in education, the key to human flourishing. May we listen well, decide wisely, and act with integrity, honoring both those who came before us and those who will inherit what we build today. Let us begin. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Very well done. Thank you so much. And now I will recognize Dr. Breslin for our Veterans Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Leading the Pledge of Allegiance for today's meeting is Army veteran retired Master Sergeant Johnny Browning, who is a JROTC instructor at Braden River High School. He has been with our district since 2023, and prior to that served as JROTC instructor at the Sarasota Military Academy for 14 years. He has served with multiple units at assignments across the world to include Germany, South Carolina, Korea, and Kentucky, home of the 101st Airborne Division known as the Screaming Eagles. He deployed for a total of 2 years and 3 months during Operation Iraqi Freedom and served 2 6-month tours in Egypt. His accolades include a combat patch earned with the historic 101st 3rd Brigade Combat Team, Combat Infantryman Badge, Expert Infantry Badge, Pathfinder Badge, Air Assault Badge, Rappel Master, the Bronze Star, with 2 awards, Meritorious Service Medal, and multiple other honors to include Army Commendations, Army Achievements, and the National Defense Service Medal. Another point of distinction is that Master Sergeant Browning was selected as Teacher of the Year at another school district and was previously nominated and ultimately awarded the U.S. Army JROTC Instructor of the Year worldwide. No doubt his experience and leadership guided Braden River High School's cadets to their most recent achievements in Raider competitions. Now, sir, we invite you to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before you go, sir, Sergeant, thank you for your service not only to our country but to this school district. We are honored to have you as an employee. This certificate is from Congressman Buchanan's office with the flag that has flown over our U.S. Capitol. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that and for your service, sir. On to the agenda. The chair has found good cause to amend the agenda to include all items listed under the agenda amendments on February 10th, 2026. Agenda updated February 9th, 2026, and posted to the district website. So I will look for a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Is there any comments from the board? Superintendent? Okay. Okay, we'll vote on the agenda. Did somebody do the second? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry, I'm not on, if somebody else wants to do it, I'm not on,
Got it all in?
Thank you.
Okay. So
Sorry.
I'm guessing that passed 5-0.
No, we're voting on now.
Right, okay.
The system's slow.
Difficult. Okay. Item number 6, approval of the minutes. Superintendent?
Yes, ma'am. The superintendent recommends approval of the minutes from the January 13, 2026 school board workshop minutes and the January 20, 2026 school board meeting minutes.
Okay, looking for a motion.
I will move.
I'll second.
And obviously, we all had the opportunity to review that. And that item passes 5-0. And then next on our agenda is student celebrations. So we will recognize Ms. Jamie Carson, Kevin Chapman.
Yes, Madam Chair. I'm actually going to introduce Dr. Gansimer, who will introduce our guest as he joins all of Florida in recognizing February as Career and Technical Education Month.
Thank you, Board Chair Spray, board members, superintendent, and staff. Today I come to you with celebration of CTE month. So every February we celebrate CTE. A lot of times we have the opportunity to bring lots of students and trophies and gadgets and gizmos and have tractors out front and do things. During the school day, it's a little bit more difficult. So today we're going to drop back and do things a little bit differently. We're still going to celebrate students because we do have many students who have won awards with different competitions with our CTSOs. So we'll have their names in the presentation to be able to share with you. We will not be able to read all the names. It will take a little bit long. But we'll leave it up long enough so you can read it. And I think you do have a packet in front of you to hold on to if you wish. And we do have 3 guests here today, and what I'll do is introduce them as we go through the presentation. So thank you for the opportunity to be able to come celebrate CTE month. The importance of career and technical education in middle and high schools is essential for engaging students through hands-on real-world learning, which boasts graduation rates and motivation. It bridges the academic knowledge that they get in our county with career-specific skills, allowing students to earn industry certifications, explore different pathways to gain a competitive edge for future employment, or even to go into post-secondary education. And you'll see on that slide that I had, the second slide I have up right now, where we improve engagement and motivation that allows the students to feel engaged in their education. They say to themselves, hey, this makes sense, I'm learning this for a purpose. So it really helps them with purpose. It gives them a chance to explore what they would like to do in their lifetime. They're not necessarily picking their careers in middle school and high schools, but it gives them an idea of things that they can do. Also, it gives them some academic and technical skills to start putting those pieces together and start making sense about, oh, now I understand why I need to know geometry to, because I want to build houses and I need to know about area and all that other good stuff. Same thing with the industry certifications. A lot of certifications are very difficult to earn, but the students are learning the skills necessary to be able to earn those certifications. Those certifications are for the industry that they can take with them to be able to get careers and jobs. And last, it also will increase graduation rates because as they're better engaged at school, it hopefully brings up all their performance in all their academics as well. With our staff, I usually always want to introduce our staff. So I'm the executive director. Dr. Jody Kirk is our Manatee Technical College director. In our audience today, we have Ms. Kelly Kennedy, our assistant director for career and technical education. Also in the audience, we have Christy Clark, who's our teacher in special assignment for work-based learning. And also in the audience, we have Aaron Cooper Navarro, who's our career pathways coordinator. So that's your ACT and MTC staff leadership that we have in our district. With adult and career and technical education, the state has 17 clusters for each of the careers. I have those clusters up for you. In those clusters, we have different programs. Within those programs, we have different courses. Within those courses, we have state frameworks. So it's a very deep level of instruction that the teachers have for the students. So today, we're going to go through some of the career that we can do. I had mentioned earlier about industry certifications, And this is an opportunity for the students to really take tests from a third company. So it's not the state giving the test, it's not the district giving the test. It's really a third company who's giving that test, that once they pass that test, they can own that certification for themselves, that when they go get a job, they can show that certification to say, hey, I can do that work that you have in your industry. So it demonstrates that they have proficiency. It leads to more employment opportunities because they can show that they've earned that skill. It also increases their earning potential. They may not have to start at an entrance level now. They might be able to walk in at a level 2 or a level 3, depending on that industry. It offers credibility when they show up in the interview. That person sitting in front of them says, oh, you have those industry certifications. Wow, you must be a pretty smart person to be able to do that. The other part it does too is it shows commitment to the industry. So if the students have those certifications and they go apply, that person who's going to hire them knows that that student put in that effort to be able to earn that certification. It keeps up with the industry changes. Certifications that we have are led by the state through a master credentials list. And those people who sit on that committee change the certifications often. They take some off, they put some on. So it's hard for us to keep up with it, but each year we have to see what's coming up and what's being taken off. How do we adjust? What do the teachers need to be able to teach the students? It also increases their employability value, so they're part of a team that other people have that certification and they can feel part of that team. It expands their network, that as when they speak to people and work around in the industry, they can speak the language, they know the lingo. We have them offered at most of the middle and high schools, and I already mentioned the credentials list. So next I do have the industry certification list. It's probably about, I want to say 34 or maybe 40 pages long. I only gave you one page. If you wish, we could give you the other pages later. I can give you the link. But this is really the law that we follow with the industry certifications, and they are for secondary as well as post-secondary.
Madam Chair, may I?
Yes.
Thank you. Dr. Gansmer, I just want to be sure. I think this is still the case. I just want to be sure through the superintendent. The industry certification, a student who earns that in high school, does that still count toward our acceleration points as part of the school grade?
Yes, there's a group that count towards acceleration points, and there's been changes over the years, which is why we have our experts here to tell you which ones still count and which ones maybe don't count like they used to. But absolutely, the ones that we put in our schools work towards that acceleration bucket.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Gansmer.
Thank you.
May I also ask a question? Dr. Gansmer, I think this is an interesting point for the public to know that you actually, when I say you, the technical education world, you go out into the community to businesses and you find the certifications that they're looking for, right? So these vary over the years based on what's actually needed as far as jobs and employment out in the community. Is that correct?
It works that way. It's really the industry works with the state. And then we as a district, if the industry wants to get a certification on there, we as the local educational association or authority, whatever you want to call it, we team up with them to submit it to the state to get it put on the list.
Okay.
But you are correct. For our community, we will ask them what certifications do they need. Now, I can only offer what's on the list. If they have a one that's not on the list, again, we could submit it. If it is on the list, we try to do the best we can to offer it. Some of them can be very difficult or take a long time to get. If I do an LPN program, a licensed practical nurse program, I can't get the certification until I actually graduate.
Right.
So some of it I can't attain during school time, some of them I can.
But as a general idea, we are trying to orient what goes on in our technical training world to the employment opportunities out in the community. As a general idea, is that
Yes, sir.
true? So we just don't pick from a list that is just varied. We actually are oriented. That's just an important point I think that the public should know, is that we're actually, in conjunction with the state, going out and looking at the employment opportunities available in our community and orienting this towards what's available.
Yes, sir.
Great. All right. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank
Madam
you.
Chair. Thank you. Yep.
Just to
Ms.
give you a four-year,
Ms.
I'm sorry.
Phillipson
Dr.
has-
Gansmer, sorry.
I guess I hit a good point.
Yes. So I wanted to check now. Am I correct in my understanding that the state has made a lot of changes in the coming year of what certifications are going to be allowed?
Each year they review the list. So yes, for next year there are probably 3 or 4 that could impact our school system. So what we do as a department is we know that they're going to disappear. We talk with the teachers. We find certifications. We get with the business partners, find out what we can do off the list to be able to replace them for students to be able to have that opportunity to be able to earn them, but they may not be able to earn it. One of the ones that I use is if you think about Microsoft years ago, a certification could be that you would get Microsoft Word. That would be a certification. Great, congratulations. And then the state said, well, we need to change that. There's 5 offerings. We're going to say you need to get 3 out of the 5 offerings. And then that went for a bunch of years. And then they said, well, instead of the 3 out of 5, we feel you need to get the expert level. So that's what I'm saying is they keep making it more and more difficult for the students and upping it because they said, if it's an industry certification, how can an elementary school or an early middle school student get it? That means it's too easy. It's not really for the industry. So, but the industry still says we need for them to know Microsoft Word and that whole package for them to work in my business. So that's where it goes back and forth between the community and the state to be able to roll out what we can do.
So it would be beneficial then if our businesses and organizations out in the world that need workers with these certifications might want to have a little chat with some of the legislators about making sure that certifications that they need are actually being approved from the state and not removed.
Yes, ma'am. That would be great for them to be a part of that process.
Thank you.
Chad, anything else?
No.
Continue.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
All right, just a quick four-year history. Over the past 4 years, we've gone from 1,595 through the district to last year 3,200. So each year we try to raise that. Certain factors that affect that is what I had mentioned about certifications being taken away, some being added. Maybe it's enrollment. Maybe the student enrollment is down. Maybe students have already earned them. You can't earn another one. You already have that one. So there's a lot of variables that could change that number. But you can see there's been a steady rise over the years. Moving on, part of what we do with career and technical education is we do help students with their thought of going into careers through the post-secondary route. We have 5 things that we always tell the seniors. We tell them to go into the military. That's a great career option to be able to do. You could go straight into the workforce, which whatever you're doing, whatever your interest is, or you could go to a technical college, a state college, or a university. So if you're going to go to the technical college, state college, or university, we in our department have the chance to put together articulation agreements that if the student earns the education at one level, they can take that with them to the next level to be able to take that credit with them. So it's a cost savings as well as why do I need to relearn what I've already learned? So I don't want to say CLEP, but they get a chance to not have to repeat it. And so those agreements, you might see those at different meetings and say, here's those articulation agreements that he talked about doing that. So one of the things that we do is to work with those seniors and work with actually I want to say all the high schoolers, and we're almost talking to 8th graders now about post-secondary opportunities, is we have our college and career advisors at each of the high schools. So we have 7 high schools with college and career advisors, and they do a lot of things to try to connect these students to post-secondary. We do tours of the technical college, of the state college, of the local university. Our belief is we want the students to be able to stay in our area, to stay in our community. So we have tours with MTC, we have tours with SCF, and we have tours with USF. But another part that we do is we help with FAFSA, we help with parents to be able to understand what they do. So one of the college and career advisor programs that had been highlighted was over at Lakewood Ranch lately. So on Bay News 9, they had a chance to come out and do coverage of our career and college center that we have over at Lakewood Ranch. It's a new one that's been put together to be able to help the students. And to be able to speak about that, I've invited Vito Bavaro out to be able to speak about it. And what he'd like to do is share some things with you. Coach, could you be able to share with us, please?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the time. My name is Vito Bavaro. I'm the College and Career Advisor, and I'm very proud to represent all the College and Career Advisors in Manatee County. We have a great group of people who work really hard to help our students get to the next level, whether it's going to the military, whether it's going to 4-year school, 2-year school, technical school, wherever. We want to hopefully give them enough choices to help them get there. One of the things that we did this year, we set up the College and Career Corner in the Media Center in Lakewood Ranch High School. And I don't know if there's a picture of it up there. And we had a great opening ceremony. And the idea is to have the information available for all the students. And we put it in a space where it's passed by students every day. But we also set up lunch and learns where students can come in the morning, pick up a pass, and they can come in, have lunch, and also go through the paperwork and go through scholarships, go through just general information, or pick up a flyer. And on the board there's a big board. We also have job opportunities. So if there's a student that is looking to do something post-secondary, but maybe it's just a job instead of college or technical school, there's careers there for them. Recently, I have been in contact with NGC, which is the second largest employer here in Manatee County, and they wanted students to come out to their facilities, and we're setting up now interviews in our school so we can bring a busload of students there, and they can do almost on the field, on the site hiring process, where they can see what they do and get an idea of what's possible for these students post-secondary. Maybe if they don't want to go on to education, go on to a four-year college, or maybe do both. So we're trying to give our students as much information as possible, and it's really come out, the center came out great. I'm very proud of it.
Ms. Felton?
As most people know, I was a high school teacher at Southeast, and I did just that. That was part of my regular routine of, I don't care what you want to do, but you need a skill, a marketable skill.
Yes.
You can go to the military, you can go to career and tech, you can go 2-year school, 4-year school, but you need to have something that you can do. And this is really very awesome, this opportunity, because really it just takes one person to tell a kid, hey, you're really good at this. Have you thought about doing this as a career? I know you don't want to go to college, but you're really good at this. Have you thought about this to do as there's ways to get training. We can help you get that going. And just to have that opportunity there at the school for people to kind of put it on their radar, and to get their attention of, oh, I can learn how to do this. Both of my kids have gone to MTC. One's graduating this year, one graduated last year. And it just took you're spending a lot of time baking in my kitchen. Have you thought about being a pastry chef? And taking my younger one to MTC, who then immediately signed up after visiting. There's so much out there that we can help them get to, and if they even take, classes in middle school and go, oh, this was really cool. Mr. King is here, and they have their medical program at the school, and just doing it in middle school and saying, oh, this was really neat. I like doing this. Maybe I'll go to the high school that has the same program. And it helps get them on that path. So, I just love all of our career and tech programs here. You all know that about me. But I just want the public to be aware there is so much out there that we can help them do, and you just need to put a bug in their ear. And they can go really far. So I really appreciate everything you do, and this looks really amazing.
Thank you. And when I was at MTC recently, we did a tour, and I used to own a bakery in New Jersey for 15 years, and the machinery that's there is just unbelievable. It's not just a sheeter or whatever, a cookie machine. They have everything there. I mean, it's incredible. And the thing that we saw the best was when we took the students to MTC or USF, and they showed them the robotics. The kids lit up, like, wow, I didn't know they even had this. So part of that is great. And the second part of what we do is also scholarships. Okay, you want to do this, but now we'll show you how to get money to do it. So these college and career centers that are in each one of our schools is a vital part for every student.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Sure.
This is really a great program you have going at Lakewood Ranch High School, which is in District 5. But anyway, so last time we went through graduation, right? I think it was the Palmetto High School graduation. It's all over, and we're walking out, and people are high-fiving. It's a really happy event for lots of people, obviously. And as I'm walking out the back of Lecom Stadium, there's this young man, and he's sitting at a table all by himself, just kind of sitting there, kind of looking, at the ground. And so I go over there and I engage him and talk to him a little bit. And eventually I got to, well, what are you going to do now? And he's like, well, I don't know. And I just thought, I wonder if we have, I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to critique or anything, but I am wondering, in somewhere in our classes, in our curriculum, maybe in the financial literacy course, is there a mandatory, a mandatory process where you at least have to go through some type of, what am I going to do after a high school plan, right? Does that exist? And I don't know, where you're required as part of some course, a civics course, financial literacy, that at least I have some plan when they hand me my diploma, that I have some plan of what I might want to do when I'm done.
Yeah, I think when I was the economics teacher at Lake Ranch High School, and part of what I did when I first went back into it, because I was the academic advisor when we started the academies, and then went back into the classroom when the grant left. But I had put into the classroom the financial literacy for high school students, the Dave Ramsey part of it.
Right.
And now we have it in our classes as a class for financial literacy, which is great because that shows the students what they can do. And the biggest part, one of the things we used to do was the stock market trading.
Okay.
And the kids loved it, and they realized, this is something I really want to get into that they really wouldn't have thought of if we didn't have that in our classes. So I do think our classes have those things where we show students what they could do. But by going out and actually seeing it, feeling it, touching it, those are the ones that really get them excited about it.
And that's good. But I heard you talk about selling and buying stocks and investing, and that's all well and good.
Yes.
But there's some a career plan. This is when they hand me my diploma, here's what's next for me. I actually have it written out. It's a plan, and maybe I change my mind when I graduate. But I was wondering if that would be something useful. And if we have it, great. If not, it might be.
I think some
useful.
teachers have it in their classrooms. I don't think we have it set up in each school specifically, but I think there are teachers in every high school and middle schools that have those career plans for this.
Mr. Tatum, in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, students start using the state system to do some career planning and to explore by interest different career fields, which is really important to make sure that we start piquing their interest even at the age of 11, as you know. And then there is a system that takes students through 12th grade to continue that process. But part of our goals, and I think when I shared my top 6 in 2026, is that as we're increasing our graduation rate, that we're very proud that we're increasing it, we need to continue to make sure every student has a college or career plan with their high school diploma. And so it's an area of growth. As mentioned, we have it, but is it as systematic so that we can say 100% of our graduates have a plan? I don't think we're there yet. So I think you'll see those elements come up in our strategic plan that we're working on currently to make it so that we can say without a doubt that everyone has a path. The path might change, but we know when they graduate, they have an idea.
Great. Thank you very much for your time. That's all I have. Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else?
Well, Mr. Bavaro, thank you for presenting about our college and career advisors. We thank you very much for that.
Thank you for having me.
Moving on with what we do with ACT, we do a lot of work-based learning. So the students do get a chance to have experiences to work within whatever career they are interested in, or it's tied to classes, and it's co-curricular organizations that are CTSO. So I have those up on the screen. I've always been told it's kind of an alphabet soup, bunch of letters that mean something. So the only one that really doesn't have the name to it is Skills USA. They are just Skills USA. So with that, we move on to, in our district in Manatee County, we have many students that strive for student leadership, and leadership is a part of the CTSO. The opportunity for the students is endless based on what they want to do. So just in our county alone, we have state president, state treasurer, state reporter for TSA. We have president for District 10, secretary for District 10 for FFA. We have state vice president for FCCLA, and we also have our national vice president for FCCLA. So you'll see state, district, and national level officers that our students are doing. Great opportunity. This is a great resume builder. When they go speak and they go interviewing and they say what they do as an officer, they'll probably be a top hire because the people know how much it takes to be that state officer. Going on, we have our advisors that we have for our district, for DECA, FBLA, FCCLA, FFA, HOSA, and TSA. So we have all of them listed. We do have one with us today. We have Pamela Ron. She's going to speak to us a little bit later during the presentation about HOSA. So today's highlight, we typically go over some of our programs. So today we want to go over what we're doing with health sciences and medical fields, which is one of our 17 clusters. We do have health science at 4 of our middle schools, and we also have it at 3 of our high schools. So today, I have invited Krista Cummings to come speak to you from Lincoln Memorial Middle School. So thank you, Ms. Felton, for that intro there. And she wants to share the great things that she's doing to have Lincoln be innovative, but we also talk about pathways, as you heard everyone say. Well, can they go to the high school? Can they go to the technical college or wherever from there? So I'd like to introduce to you Krista Cummings from Lincoln Memorial Middle School with her what do I want to call it? The health science magnet? Is that what we want to call it?
Good morning, board. Thank you for having me. So yes, I'm here to represent our medical magnet program in the middle school level, like Dr. Breslin mentioned. We have students in 6th grade through 8th grade, and we actually have students who are in 8th grade but taking a 9th grade level course. So we're very proud of that. This is our 3rd year doing it. What you see pictured here is an event that Manatee High School also attended, but we were very excited to bring our students to it. It was right here down the road at Manatee Memorial Hospital. It is their new Da Vinci 5 robot. What I had anticipated was them showing the students how it worked. What I did not anticipate was that the students would be able to actually use the robot. So what you see pictured here is some of the students operating very technically on a starburst. Yes. So they were using the real technology, but their patient was, a little bit more low-key, as they say. So they were operating to try to remove the wrapper in one and keep it intact. So you'll see Dr. South there in that 3rd picture. She was explaining to them, okay, you can take the wrapper off, but now you need to suture it back together. And the student who tore his apart was like, what? So that was really eye-opening for some of them. So they really enjoyed that. You see my student there, her name is Yara. She's actually one of our HOSA competitors. She won 1st place this year, her group did. She was very excited to show everyone her intact wrapper and show Dr. South that
That's cool.
I could resuture this if I had to. So that was very exciting. So that was a really fun afternoon for the students. On the next page, you'll see these are some pictures from our skills lab and the classroom. So on the top right, you'll see the students are actually looking at sheep and bovine anatomy. So they're holding a kidney, and in the other picture where there's 3 students on the top right, there's actually a heart. And the reason those were out is we started teaching them CPR, and I said, let's look at a heart. We did the anatomy, and now this is what it looks like before we teach them CPR. So they were, posing there with their anatomy. And then the pictures you see on the left are actually why we were most excited to go to Manatee is because we have a robot-assisted medicine. So these students are actually learning at a much smaller scale what Dr. South was actually showing them on the Da Vinci robot. So it's much more sophisticated, of course, what they use in the operating room, but our students use an endo wrist, and they are actually operating the robot by looking at a TV screen, and you see kind of this curved shield. That is because the student is on the other side. They're not actually allowed to look at the robot because it is remote controlled. So we have actually seen, and I've shown them videos this year, one surgeon locally in Orlando operated on a patient who was physically in Africa. So this is the future of medicine, and our students are learning how do you do it in the classroom, which is why they're not allowed to look or turn around and look at their patient, because their patient potentially could be in another area. So it's actually happening in real life. So yes, that next page you see a little bit more closer up.
We do have a video, Ms. Cummings, so we can run the video to where it shows both sides.
So there was a student, he was adjusting the camera and you see the student standing there. It's very short, unfortunately. But
So that's the operating table, and then on the other side of the screen is where they are remotely working on it. It's a short video, but we wanted to let you know that Lincoln is one of the first, if not the first, school that has this set up, and we've worked with the Roots robots to put this together. An idea was raised, why don't we do it? How do we do it? They start working on it. We were able to use referendum to purchase it. It's quite expensive because we're talking about expensive equipment, but it's giving those students an opportunity that many students across the United States don't have. It's set up like operation. So they pick up a piece, they take it out, or they put it back in. So there's no blood, there's no liquids, none of that things. But the whole idea is for them to understand the remote surgery part of it.
and it's gamified, so as the students play, it's timing them so they can compete with each other to see who was most accurate in the quickest time. And when they win the game, Baby Luna, that's the name of the robot baby, she cries and she moves her arms. And then it pops up on the screen and it says, "Congratulations, you saved Baby Luna."
Oh, how cute.
And we welcome you to come out and see it in action because the students
Yeah.
love showing how to do
Field
it.
trip.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, the last thing we wanted to mention is that we do partner with Manatee Memorial. We're actually going to be going at the end of this month for a Healthcare Careers Exploration Day. This is the third one, I believe, that we've done. Pam will bring her students from Nolan. We also bring them from King as well. And they spend most of the day hearing from the experts in their field at the hospital, learning about different careers that they could be part of, and then they get to do some hands-on things and have lunch and tour as much as possible. This year, it's changing a little bit, and they're going to bring more items to our students as opposed to them walking around the hospital. Just logistics is challenge there. And we also do partner with Blake. They do Stop the Bleed and come out to our schools to teach that. And one of their education department leaders there was my former student at MTC, so it's really cool to see her in that role now as an RN. And she invites us to come out and we can do small group tours for them to see what does a hospital room actually look like and why do you see the things in there. And we have some of those items actually at Lincoln as well, a hospital room setup.
Very cool.
Thank you, Ms. Cummings. We appreciate you sharing about Lincoln Memorial. What we do is we look at the pathway. So Lincoln students have a chance to be able to go to a couple different high schools north of the river. So we do have pathways set up on different parts of the county to make it better for the students. So they do have an option to be able to go to Palmetto High School, where there's two programs. We have a health science program, and we also have a Project Lead the Way biomedical technician program. That's a lot of words to be able to say. That's a very specified program. It's very high level, and those students can earn the biomedical technician certification that they could go into that area as a career for the rest of their lives and be able to work their way up through medical or stay at that level if they wanted to. Part of the pathway also is to be able to go to Parish Community, which we also have the health science program out there as well. And I know you've been out there for a check presentation that we had a couple years ago. That grant goes for one more year, and that grant funding helps that health science program be able to reach out and do great things for the students to hopefully obtain the different certifications that are offered. After high school, they can then go to MTC. That's part of the pathway we can do. Today, we had Manatee High School coming out as part of the pathway to be able to speak to you about the medical science at the high school. Unfortunately, Dr. Zerbonia is not feeling well, and we said it was fine for him to stay home and because we want to make sure he gets well for him to be able to work with the students. He did give me a couple of sheets that I'll go through quick. I'm sorry I'll be reading it, but I want to make sure I give Manatee High School a chance to be able to share with what they wanted to share. So the first thing, they had it second, but I'm going to put it first, is that the academy is led by an exceptional faculty, which all of our health sciences are. Most of them are either doctors or specialists in the field or nurses. So these are people who come from industry, who are professionals in their industry to come to our schools to teach our students. Dr. Zachary Zerbonia has DBT, MBA, is licensed doctor of physical therapy with more than 25 years of clinical experience. He holds a doctorate from Boston University, a master's of business administration and healthcare management, and a bachelor of physical therapy from Maryville University. Dr. Zabonia continues to practice in local assisted living communities and is collaborating with the medical certification to develop new certified physical therapy technician and aide credentials, which we hope will receive CAPE funding in future years as well as in other states. Our other lead teacher is Richard Lansky. He's nationally recognized strength and conditioning specialist, certified in exercise psychologist and personal trainer, as well as international weightlifting coach with 4 decades of professional experience. He holds an MSc in applied sports, exercise psychology, and has taught and coached in district for the past 15 years. As a Calc Fellow, he has an in-depth understanding of the Academy model, CTE, and the standards that are used for those Academy models. His international Team USA coaching experience, combined with his experience as a sports performance clinic director and continuing education provider, offers exciting blend of academic and practical experience to share with the students. They work very closely with their local advisory council, which has medical and fitness-based professionals on it. Their faculty brings an extraordinary blend of academic excellence and clinical experience and real-world mentorship to the students. The Manatee Medical Academy is not only preparing future healthcare professionals, it's strengthening our local workforce and serving as a model for career and technical education programs through the states. So right now they offer up to 7 nationally recognized healthcare certifications. Electrocardiogram technician, certified phlebotomy technician, certified medical administrative assistant, certified clinical medical assistant, certified patient care technician, certified electronic health record specialist, and certified personal trainer. With over 200 students enrolled across more than 8 courses, the Academy offers more certification opportunities than most secondary medical programs in the state. The highest number ever offered in Manatee High School. More than 12 students were certified in December, and they anticipate 20 seniors will graduate in the spring with industry credentials that will allow them to go into the workforce immediately. Students in the upper level courses complete more than 40 hours of clinical observation in healthcare settings. Through their partnership with Blake Medical Center, students can progress from volunteer experiences to paid employment as soon as they turn 18, creating a true school-to-career pipeline. And we do have some different slides to be able to share with you about the program and how they have the Manatee Hurricanes Medical Academy. It talks about the rigorous health-focused academic program. You can peruse those at your leisure as well. And they do have many students that have placed in second, third, and fourth place that will have the opportunity to be able to go to state HOSA competition. And we want to show that King Middle School does have a program that is a pathway to Manatee, and Manatee does have a pathway to MTC for post-secondary. Moving on, that pathway going to MTC, we do have health fields at MTC that any of the students can go into. So we have allied health with massage therapy, medical assisting, the pharmacy technician, as well as surgical tech. We also have health science opportunities for them to go into with dental, emergency medical technician, nursing assistant, paramedic, patient care technician, and practical nursing. So MTC has those as programs. MTC also has dual enrollment programs that help out as well. Now, not all of these are medical, but I knew somebody at home would probably want to know, oh, dual enrollment, what do they have at MTC? It is on MTC's website, and we do have it up on the screen if you wish to see too. Most of the healthcare is over at the East Campus, so you'll see dental assisting, patient care technician, farm tech, as well as practical nursing. With that, we do have the college advisors for HOSA and Skills USA over at MTC. So we have Dr. Merck, Linda Chamberlain, Colleen Maynard, and Tom Saxton for HOSA and Skills USA. Speaking of Skills USA, I had to put this in there because we do want to highlight CTE as well as the students and the teachers. So we have 2 teachers in our welding program, Will Jordan and Andrew Stevens, who we congratulate them for being announced the Welding Teachers of the Year for the American Welding Society West Coast Section 5 area. So we're very proud of all of our teachers, and we're happy for these 2 to be noticed and to be announced as the Welding Teachers of the Year.
I understand that the welding program usually has an extensive waiting list to get in. as well?
We have many class offerings that they are all full. So if somebody wants to do the welding, they will need to enroll probably now to get in possibly next rotation, if not the rotation afterwards. This is one of our courses that does fill up quick. Moving on, we have our next speaker for you. At Nolan Middle School, we do have our health science program that's been very successful over the years. So we have our advisor over there. She's the advisor for the school, but she's also the regional advisor for HOSA. She has organized HOSA competitions for many years, held over at MTC. She's also been noticed with a lifetime membership with HOSA, which is like the Hall of Fame for HOSA. And she has been state advisor recognized for all the accolades that she does as well. We do have a lot of students that are listed. So like I said, we won't read the student names, but we want you to see that you see first place through fourth place, and they all have the opportunity to be able to go to state. So we have 2 slides with all the students' names on there. So I'd like to go ahead and turn it over to Pam Ron at this time for her to be able to share with you about HOSA and her program. Thank you, Ms. Ron.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Thank you for asking me to come, Dr. Gansimer and the 3 ladies behind me. I couldn't do this without their support either. They've been at all of our HOSA regional conferences, and we can't do this by ourselves. I'm a little bit different. I'm probably the only district mental health certified teacher. I came from an ESE background, so my medical experience is in psychiatry, psychology, social work, forensic, psychiatry, if you will. I used to work at Manatee, which used to be over there. No longer exists. It's Centerstone, I think. In any event, I was pulled in as a partial hospitalization coordinator for Sarasota Palms back in the day to join the district 33 years ago. And with that, I kind of changed with what I was doing and became a HOSA advisor because ours left. Laura Sollenberger, who was at the Medical Academy at Manatee High School, was our advisor for a while. It didn't seem to work out coming from Manatee to Nolan. So I had another teacher co-advisor who's been the co-advisor as well, Michelle Bokalak. For 18 years, we've been working at the Nolan program. We've been lucky in that we've had a lot of parents in the industry, so we've been able to get to a lot of hospitals. We've been on the roof of Johns Hopkins with the pilots who fly the helicopters to pick up, children. We've been to the Coast Guard station in Clearwater. We've been to Blake, we've been to Manatee, we've been to Lakewood Ranch. I'm very proud of the fact that when we first became international competitors, that Nolan was asked to take one of the leads to make sure that we were there every year so that they would continue the middle school division internationally with the host organization. We have been going ever since, except for the year of COVID. And we generally place either in the top 10. This past year, our guy that placed, Peter, went not only last year but also in his 6th grade year. This is his 8th grade year, so we're looking forward to seeing what he can do. We work with Lakewood Ranch, Parish, Manatee High to send our students to all those schools as well as Southeast. We've got some kids at Braden River as well. And from there, we've got kids who are now in medical school, who are now out practicing as doctors. They've been at FSU Sarasota. Dr. Bensi, who is our faculty, non-faculty coach at Lakewood Ranch for HOSA, she has had some of our students there in her medical program that have graduated. We've got one at Princeton. We have a couple down in Miami. So when we look at what we've done at Nolan Middle School, we really have seen a lot of kids go on and do good things. Duke, as far as their summer programs and things like that. So I'm very proud of the fact that I was fortunate enough to be at Nolan Middle School, to be able to recognize the need to continue to have a HOSA program there and, have the support that I've had over the years with our district ACT department to continue to have it grow.
Thanks for being here. Madam Chair.
something.
What
Mr.
you
Kennedy?
see pictured there, just to piggyback, I'm sorry.
I think Mr. Kennedy had a
That's okay. I just have a quick question. Ms. Ron, could you kind of just walk us through, you highlighted one of your students named Peter. Could you just kind of walk us through what he goes through from the school to that competition level? So obviously he's got
Yes,
pretty
I
heavy
can do that.
academics to deal with. plus
So what I did when Ms. Kennedy came on board is I was teaching health and ESE and being a host advisor, and it became clear that there was a disconnect. So I was writing health exams, and Kelly asked me, why aren't you doing health science? And I said, this is what they've had. So what benefit will we have for the health science? And then she explained further what they could do to help us support our curriculum daily. From that point, I developed a program with Scott Boyce, a 3-year program for 6th, 7th, and 8th. And then we added the high school program, the high school class for credit. So what they all do is they have the opportunity for pre-med classes throughout the day. So we have 4 levels throughout the day. Peter came along in the 6th grade and he decided he wanted to take the pre-med class. Then he decided he wanted to be in HOSA and compete. So each of these kids have an opportunity to join HOSA and become competitors. The formula that I never knew and learned as I went through this is that all of our standards, which I have been to DOE, with 8 to 10 other advisors throughout the state to help rewrite the frameworks because we weren't satisfied with it. It was health occupations, it needed to be health science professions, so we had that changed. It became clear that when the CTSOs are attached to those standards, that we need to be teaching those standards all day because those also supported the competitions. Right. And so that's what I've designed for my program over the years. And it's been very successful because the kids are competing internationally. We have people from China, people from South Korea, states all over. Sometimes it's Canada, sometimes Mexico. There's a lot of different, it changes from year to year. And so with Peter, he, went ahead and competed at the regional level because HOSA is regional, then state, and then international. And he made it in all 3 of those, placed first when he was in 6th grade so that he could go from state first place to international. That first year, bless his heart, he forgot his ID, and that's 35 points. And so his learning curve there was never forget my ID. And so they, were texting me back and forth at the time. And it was interesting because I'm like, you can't be without your ID. So they all know this now. And then this past summer, Peter went, and we joked about his ID again. He placed 3rd internationally, so he's actually to go up on the stage. And so it was interesting. I wasn't able to see it because we lost one of our staff members, and I was asked to come back to speak at his funeral. But I told him before I left, I put my arm on him, and I said, you're going to be on the stage tonight. When you are, I want you to call me when you're done. And that's exactly what happened. And so I had confidence because I know Peter, he's our regional advisor, or regional officer at the middle school level. King also has a regional officer at the middle school level. So now this year he's going in a group, and it's a new event that they're doing. I was a little, I don't know about this, Peter. I'm thinking you should have stayed where you were, but he's growing and he's trying to expand. And he said, I kind of think you're right, but I got to do this now because in HOSA you can only do 1 event throughout the year, so you're perfecting as you go. And so we'll see what he does at state. They placed first because some of the other competitors weren't there. He placed first, and his team. So we'll see what they do at state, and then we're hoping that we'll be an international again this year.
What area is he working in? Sorry, let me do that again. What area?
Competition.
Yeah.
He right now is doing first step career skills. So they have to show teamwork. And he's one of the doctors that's calling out the other ones and saying, no, you could kill him, this kind of thing. He wants to be a neurosurgeon, and he's been doing health career preparation where he speaks about why he wants to be involved in medicine. So, yes.
Thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ms. Ron. We appreciate you being here today and sharing about all the great things that are going on at Nolan. We do have pictures up of the anonymage table. So some of you have had a chance to go visit schools, and you'll see in our health science programs that we have these interactive tables that could be either laying flat, or they can stand up. Again, we were able to use referendum funds to be able to purchase these tables for the programs, which is extremely important for the students to have access to the equipment that they need to be able to do that. We also have great principals at all of our schools that support all of our CTE programs. Without the principals understanding the purpose and how this is great for students to be able to get a career, I'll say some of the principals use their classes to be able to say, now, if you want to go on that hosted trip, you need to be doing better with your grades and get your math scores up. And so it is a chance for everyone at the school to really hold these students accountable. Maybe that's why they do so well with graduation rates too, is they don't want to lose out on CTSOs. But we just thank the principals, and I also want to thank Mr. Ronnie King for being here today in support of Lincoln Memorial. All of our principals support it, but I want to give special notice because he did want to come out and support Krista Cummings with that as well. So, in closing, we want to thank you for your support. Manatee County CTE students are receiving impactful education and provides foundational schools that are relevant to real-world careers. And as they go over to MTC, the mission is to meet the demand of training. MTC has expanded offerings to include over 50 career programs. That number changes, by the way, so it might be 50, it might be 40, depending on the year in the program. Many programs can be completed in a year, and there's no student loans. So we always say you can get a career in a year without student loans. Now, if you want to be a practical nurse, it's a little bit longer than a year. So it's true for most of them, but some of them, they are a little bit longer. But we want to thank you as the school board for your support of our superintendent, of our administrators, and of course of our program for us to try to make Manatee County the best with CTE. So thank you for the opportunity to be able to share with you today.
I just want to say in closing for this particular item, I've been to several graduations at MTC. I've been to events at SCF. I've toured USF. I think all of us have. The last graduation we had was a student crossed and was graduating and was turning into an instructor. As soon as he left, he already had the job at MTC to be an instructor. So that just shows you how we want to keep you here. We have everything that you need right here in our community. And if we don't have it, we'll find it, it sounds like. But the need is here. We have the programs. You just have to have the desire. And we have the staff that will help you find that niche that you're looking for. And I just want to say thank you to all of you, because it takes a lot to get these kids across the finish line and let them see their potential that they don't even know exists. So it takes a lot of us to do that for them. But once it clicks, it clicks. And when it clicks, it sticks. So I just want to say thank you so much for the presentation. It was wonderful.
Thank you very much. We also gave you special little pins. These are for our TSA pins.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
these are for you to wear proudly. And if you want to go to TSA Nationals, I'm sorry we can't use referendum to pay for you to go. It is in Washington, D.C., but what they do is they use the pins and they trade them, kind of like other amusement parks do with the pins. So thank you very much. We hope you have a great
I
day.
think Mr. Choate has something.
Just quickly, I just want to say thank you to all the staff that came. I say it all the time, options and opportunities, right? Like, kids don't know what they don't know, and students don't know what they don't know. And so I think it's our responsibility as a board here at the district level to make sure we're telling the community what we do offer. Doing stuff like this is great, but I think we've got to continually show the community not only what referendum dollars are doing for the students, and showing them opportunities that would have never happened if we didn't have those dollars, but also what our schools are offering. I think there's a lot of people out there that have no clue that our kids are working with robotics, or they're working with a board that the amount of technology goes in that board. You said the board's name. I don't remember the board's name.
Anatomage.
Anatomage?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can say
They're
that
actually
right.
real cadavers that they use to produce that anatomage table.
It's awesome. I mean, like how like that's incredible
Yes.
that we're offering that.
Been featured on Grey's Anatomy.
And I don't even know. Yeah. Yeah, my daughter's gone to like Grey's Anatomy like 3 times on Netflix. And my daughter is at SCF doing nursing. because of the program at Manatee High School. Inspired her to, that's what she wanted to do, and wants to go into pediatrics. So I just think you all that work on this, you know, we always think about the normal, the math, the science, the English, the history. But I think this is what truly inspires kids to go into the field that they want to go into and do what they want to do. Because as a liberal arts math teacher, they weren't like, yay, we get to learn about the Pythagorean theorem. But I'm sure when they walk in, like integers, awesome. But I'm sure then they walked into the classrooms, y'all's classroom. I mean, they're probably geeked up and ready to go. I mean, the robotic stuff, that's what they're doing on their own, right? They're playing with robots, or they're video gaming, and that's, I wish like 25 years ago or so, when I was a kid, they were like, why are you playing video games? Like, I wish I could say, well, they're going to make robots that are like a video game to, you know, but we thought it was just going to rot your brain. But no, thank you all very much for what you do, because I think we do stuff here at Manatee County that the other counties are not doing. And we need to do a good job of getting that out there to the community to let them know. So really, really appreciate all y'all's hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next item on our agenda is public comment, and we'll let the room clear a little bit before we start the public commenters. We do have 4 who are signed up. I will tell you that you will have 3 minutes. There's a clock just above our head here that will tell you what your time is, and I would ask that you would stop when the bell rings. So the first public commenter that I have is, I'm thinking it's Jill Garner. After that, Chastity Warthen, and Steve Zukafas, and then Rodney Jones. So if you want to come on down, Ms. Garner.
I thought it was just me. Can I begin?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, good morning. My name is Jill Garner. Thank you guys for everything that you do. I know it takes a lot of dedication, and it can be very difficult. So, my family and I moved to Florida in 1992. I have lived in Lakewood Ranch since 2013. I have 3 children, a high school student at Lakewood Ranch High, one that's at Gullett Elementary School, and one that will be entering into the school system. First, a statewide mandate in 2023 to start high school no earlier than 8:30 was passed. Backed by research, time, and effort, this law was put into effect. RFK Jr. backed school hours changing after speaking with several specialists. One specialist saying that sleep deprivation is a gateway drug, with side effects spilling into students leaning on relaxants like alcohol and marijuana, to later Adderall and Ritalin just to stay awake and focused. There's also a nationwide organization called StartSchoolLater.net, so I know I'm not alone on this. I can tell you by experience the current model is useless and antiquated. Why still 7:30? We are paying to attempt to educate students who are half asleep. It's going against their natural sleep cycles and rhythm. Many are involved in activities to stay well-rounded. By the time we have dinner, homework, and important family conversation, often these days are ending later than we wanted. Too late to get up in the dark of the morning and do it all over again. Yes, we all did it. I had to be in my seat by 7:15. And looking back in the 90s, I ran myself into the ground. But we are in a new era where physical health and mental health have become a huge priority, very popular, and change and progress need to occur. An important issue that ties to the start time is the devastating overcrowding. I can only speak on Lakewood Ranch High School. And yes, I know a new high school was approved, but for the students who are currently having to deal with this, it will be too little, too late. This is their time to have their high school experience, and it's only once. The bathrooms are inaccessible. The hallways are overcrowded. Lunch lines are too long for all the students to get their lunch and have enough time to eat it. There are no lockers to store the heavy amount of books that they still have, even though we're in a digital era. I've emailed you all a video so that you could firsthand experience what it's like for a round trip to complete the drop-off. This is a heavily dense housing district. Many students are right at the 2-mile mark or under, so current policy does not let them qualify for a bus. The burden is on us. It takes 47 minutes to complete a 3-mile trip. Students have relied on e-bikes, bikes, and walking, But let me tell you, due to the congestion, it is not a safe situation. There are no crossing guards, no police directing traffic. It's ugly, and this is how we welcome our day, every day. When you look at the video, you'll see there must be hundreds of tardies a day. These students are still penalized by means of detention. This is not their detention. I don't know whose detention it is. I had more, but sorry.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Charity Watson. Last call for charity, no? Mr. Zukofis.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Shout out to Pam Ron. Worked with her and Michelle Bokolak at Nolan. Amazing work that they do, the leadership opportunities. Shout out to MTC. One of our sons went there, changed his trajectory, changed his path, fit him at the need he needed to fit. So with that, good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, board members, and good morning, Dr. Breslin. First of all, thank you for your time and your continued commitment to all students in Manatee County. I also want to acknowledge that Dr. Breslin has already engaged staff to work through this data issue I'll be speaking about, and I appreciate that responsiveness. I'm here today to speak not just as a charter school advocate, but as an instructional leader. For decades, I've trained teachers and administrators in brain-compatible learning, among other things. And what we know about how students grow is actually very simple. The brain needs challenge, novelty, and feedback. Of those three, feedback is the most powerful. John Hattie's research shows that effective instructional feedback has an effect size equivalent to 2 years of learning. In other words, quality feedback can nearly double student growth. But feedback doesn't happen in a vacuum. It depends on having the right information, timely instructional level data that tells teachers what students understand, where they're struggling, and how to adjust instruction before it's too late. That's why progress monitoring data, such as the FAST PM2 data, matters so much. Charter schools and district schools serve the same children, take the same state assessments, and are held to the same account. Because the expectations are the same, access to progress monitoring data needs to be provided to charter leaders in the same manner as district principals, like state statute requires, so that all public schools can give their students the feedback they need to grow. Charter leadership isn't asking for additional services or staffing or any further analysis by the district, just what is required by the state. This is about alignment. Instructional, standard level data helps change outcomes before PM3, and that benefits all students and families and the district as a whole. About a year ago, I stood before you to raise a concern about the equitable sales tax sharing for charter students. What I learned from that experience is that when we stay focused on fairness and alignment and students, and when we work together, we find solutions. This moment feels very similar. So my ask today is simple and respectful, that, as state statute requires, charter schools receive the same instructional level progress monitoring reports that district principals have already received last month. This same type of standard and benchmark level feedback so we can coach our students more effectively and support their growth. As I've said before, we are one district, one community, and one team serving kids. When data is shared in the same manner, the opportunity to succeed is shared as well. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to continue to working with you with all of our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Rodney Jones.
Greetings. Rodney Jones, graduate of the school district of Manatee County. Mom taught in the district 33 years, ran for school board in 2014. Such a wonderful meeting. I hate to dampen it, but we got some problems here that need to be discussed. I'm legally blind. Do we still have the doohickey that we can show?
No,
You'd have to
We
give it
don't
to
have
the-
that?
No.
Trying to hide stuff, huh? This is a sworn criminal affidavit from Charlie Kennedy. Charlie Kennedy admits that the school district of Manatee County and the city of Palmetto engaged in fraud and misconduct in the takeover of Lincoln Memorial Academy. This is a criminal matter. I'd like to meet with somebody about this. This has already been reported to the state. It has been reported to the governor's office, the office of the Inspector General, Chief Inspector General Melinda Miguel, and it's coming up, so I want you to know we're not letting it go. That school was illegally taken. We have a big problem in the school district with reporting sexual abuse by our staff on the students. This started the culture of it. This is also included at the state level, at the governor's office, inspector generals everywhere, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. Former Commissioner Richard Corcoran, we've already reported this, and the school district did not do the investigation. But this is we got this from Randy Kosak from the state of Florida. He's the chief of the Office of Professional Standards. And it shows that Richard Corcoran allowed former Superintendent Diana Green, Assistant Superintendent Cynthia Saunders, your Troy Nelson, your investigator for the district, and former General Counsel Mitchell Teitelbaum to be excused from failure to report child abuse. He admits it on here. And so I like to admit this in the record. He said he couldn't report it because of the length of time. What he didn't tell you is there's no permutation or combination of Florida statute, which allows a Commissioner of Education to pardon, a Trump-like pardon staff members from felony acts. Those are felonies when you fail to report. It's a felony. So I like to admit this as well. And then all of you are liable. Florida Statute 838.022, it doesn't require a police report or a finding or anything. If any of you, I've copied it for you and it's here. If any of you public officials, if you have the information of other public officials engaging in felony committed acts, you have a duty and responsibility to report, just like child abuse. So I'm bringing this, I'm putting it on the record, and I like to know who I can speak to about this matter before we have the police in here. So I like to know. And Charlie, you're familiar, Charlie Kennedy is familiar with this because he filled out the criminal affidavit and turned it in. So is there somebody here I can talk to? Or are we going to sit here and be quiet like you did for all the rest of the years? I just want to know who I'm directed to speak about this, and I want to put this on the record.
Mr. King, you can give it to our agency. Yeah, thank you.
Is there somebody I can talk to? Or are we going to not say anything?
Sir, we can review the documents and then we'll work with the attorneys to determine the response, if that's okay with you.
I can't wait on that. So is there somebody that you can direct me to?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, and that completes the public comment section of our agenda. We'll move on to item number 9. Does the board, anybody need to take a break, or do you want to keep plowing through?
I'm good.
You're good?
Good.
Okay.
Madam Chair, we have with us today Mr. Derek Jensen and Mr. Evan McCarthy, two very familiar faces, to share our results for the PM2 data. And so we look forward to that. And they have blessed us with some sample questions as well, which I don't know if it's because of my reading background as a former English reading teacher, but I find these very intriguing. So thank you both for being here.
Thank you, Superintendent Breslin, Chair Spray, board members. I'm excited to be here today, just like we were last board meeting where we reviewed the math data. And of course, we brought our data guru, Mr. Evan McCarthy, our Director of Research, to who really prepared all of this data to go over it with you. So I'll let Mr. McCarthy take it away.
Hey, good morning. I'm excited to actually be able to say good morning, you guys. I'm more of a morning person. This is great. So, talking to you about the PM2 ELA assessments. There we go. Okay. So, we just finished at the end of January, our PM2 testing window, which is just for the fast testing, because obviously testing almost never ends nowadays. But so we're done with that. So we're going to bring you results today from both the Renaissance and Cambium platforms for pre-K through 10th grade. Just always want to remind everybody, since I think it's been like 60 or 70% of our parents that look at report cards and stuff go through the Focus Parent Portal. especially once they click in there, right on that landing page is that big Florida logo. If they click on it, it takes them right straight to the state's Family Portal website, which has, especially with reading, some really great resources. As they click on like the detailed view and resources, really like, they'll start to give like very kind of specific, like how your student did on specific things. And if it's hard to figure out what you're doing as a parent working with your kids. Sometimes like I look to my wife all the time, like, hey, you're a teacher, how am I supposed to work with them on reading? If we go to the next one, they actually have, especially for reading, some really, really great specific directions for parents on what they can actually work with their kid on and how to ask them questions, which is really awesome if you're trying to figure out what to do with those results.
Yeah, it really gives parents like question STEM. So it's like,
Can you guys speak up a
sorry,
little?
it gives parents question STEM. So as they're reading with their child, they can ask these questions that the state provides them to help engage in conversation around whatever a student's reading at home, which is really fabulous.
Okay, so now we're going to show you guys some sample questions from the state test and talk about some of the results. Okay, so first of all, this is kind of the pre-K FAST ELA sample items, what our VPK students are seeing this time of year. For the most part, I just found things that I was surprised to see the way they worked or that seemed interesting. So we can play this one, kind of show how this works. Oh. No, let's play it. If we hover, there should be a play option on it.
I don't think they're syncing properly.
Oh.
It's not playing. You want to describe what
Yeah,
the
so, like,
rabbit does with the bird?
Yeah, so this one is the benchmark that VPK students see of kind of like taking compound words and breaking them apart. So you see, it really doesn't say much in the actual question. It just reads the entire question to them. Like, hey, listen to the word butterfly. If I remove the word butter, what is left? And it just gives the kid, VPK kid, because they can't really read that well yet, a picture of what to select, of what is left. So I think this is kind of a cool representation of how these are more dynamic, interactive questions nowadays for little kids.
And this shows you how our early learners and VPK did on this assessment. You can see, and all of our data will look like this to some degree, but you'll see the middle columns there are really the last year's PM2 proficiency to this year's PM2 proficiency, and then the year-over-year change on that exam. So as Ms. Bray says, up arrows are good, and we like to see year-over-year growth where we're really raising the bar year-over-year and improving instructional outcomes. And you can see, last year we were 1% lower than the state mid-year in VPK. This year we're 4% higher than the state average. We both went up, but we went up 7 points year-over-year. And as you know, we have exceptional VPK programs in our school district. Recently, 20 of them were rated at the highest level of excellent. And universally, they receive high marks from the state review and accountability process. So this just speaks to the amazing work happening in our early learning classrooms and that you support.
This is great.
Madam Chair, I have a question there,
Yes.
please. Good morning, Mr. Jensen.
Good morning, Mr. Tatum.
So I'm told that studies show that when we get a child into VPK, get them into kindergarten, and then progress through our system, that they tend to do better on the all-important third grade PM3 ELA test. So what does the studies show mean? Could you give us an overview of what are we talking about when we say those words?
Sure. There's national studies on the impact of VPK, but also kind of specific to Florida. There's a great resource for parents and families called EduData.
Okay.
It's the Florida Know Your Schools portal. It's basically where all of our school district data is warehoused from across the state. And they actually have on the state website a VPK section where they correlate the students who attended VPK with the state third grade reading outcomes. And you can see that difference, so our parents could navigate there and see for themselves the difference in students who attend VPK versus don't attend VPK and the impact on third grade reading outcomes. So there's there's national research studies that have been done, but just quantitatively looking at within the state of Florida at all the publicly available data within the state, the impact is very real, and it is like a 20% difference in proficiency in third grade between those two groups of students.
Well, thank you for expounding on that. Now I can say more than just studies show.
Perfect.
We do have Manatee specific data for that too. I think we did a couple years back. We could dig back out.
And similar to what the state's showing, something similar?
Yeah. Yeah.
We do, and Mr. Tatum, I don't have it with me, but we can send those to the board. We did some measurements specific to graduation rate, Algebra 1, EOC success, 10th grade assessment data to see long-term what it means for our students, and we saw without a doubt a large margin of success from students who attended our district VPK programs and their long-term success through high school.
That would be very interesting. to see.
Absolutely.
Thank you. That's all I have, ma'am. Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
It would be, this is one of those reasons why we're always advocating for full-day VPK funding from the state. If we can get them in the seats, then those numbers are going to keep going up. And it's incredible just with the small numbers, like if you look district-wide, we don't have VPK everywhere available for everyone because we don't get the funding for it. To be able to offer it everywhere and not have waiting lists, and to be able to allow parents to come and leave their kid all day instead of having to figure out logistics of, do I pay to have them stay? Do I have to find somebody who can pick them up? I can't put my kid in VPK because there's no way to do that. You know, to be able to do that would be really just, I mean, those numbers would keep shooting up, not just in Manatee County, but statewide. You know, what they say about, you know, prevention versus trying to fix things afterwards, this is the prevention. And this is something that I hope our families and community members advocate for, and continue to contact your legislators and advocate about that, because obviously, as Mr. Tatum says, studies show that this is really impactful, and if we could get more state support, then we wouldn't have the problems we have with struggles in third grade.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Also, I find it so hard to believe that we are still talking about this, because I was picking up my grandkids from kindergarten midday because my daughter had to work. And that's been decades ago. So I'm interested in seeing that data, and if that's something that we can start using, I know you attend a lot of superintendent conferences. If everybody could pull that same data, and it's one of those things, you're stronger with by numbers.
Yes, ma'am.
And if we can prove that more and more and more, and even go back 20 years to now, look, we're showing you the data shows, but we need your support to get us across it. I mean, you hear people talk about it costs too much money. Well, think of what it's costing you, because you're not investing. It's costing you a whole lot more. So I'd be interested to see what other districts have on that too.
And board members, we do in this district prioritize Title I schools in our Title I funds for wraparound services for VPK, but we would like to even offer to a greater amount of Title I offerings, but there's only so much Title I funding that can be allocated towards it. So, you know, we prioritize it here, and you can see the results, and we'll see those long-term results. But I agree, anytime that we can advocate for more funding for this, the data is very clear. It works.
And then we're not paying. And then we're not paying for extra things later on when we have kids that struggle.
ROI.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Now we'll move on to the K through 2 assessment.
There you go. So for K through 2, I wanted to pull kind of two different or very similar items, but from different grade levels, and show you both the difference between, so kindergarten is where we would still have the STAR early literacy test, which isn't really quite a reading test so much as letters and sounds and a little bit of numeracy. So you can see on the left is a kindergarten question, and then on the right is a first grade question. There's no longer a listen button. It's the same standard, but like a grade level higher. So you can kind of see how it gets a little more difficult, and it's no longer reading it to them. So by the end of first grade, they're expected to be able to read that and respond to that too.
Mm-hmm.
So the K through 2 data is now on your screen, and you'll see 2 slides for all of our K-10 ELA data. You'll see it as a slide like this, which is a summary for the entire school district, comprising district operated and charter schools. And then on the next slide, you'll see it broken out district and charter schools. And you can see, again, positive gains over last year across grade levels. We're up over last year in each. And really some positive impact in kindergarten, some great growth in second grade. I think, again, that investment in early literacy we're seeing an ROI on in our primary grades, which the theory of action is that rolls up and builds momentum over time. And then here you can see the breakout by district operated and charter schools for these grade bands.
Okay, so here we kind of wanted to show you a little bit what the actual testing platform looks like in the upper grades. So we've got not just one passage, but 2 passages on the left side of their screen that they have to scroll through. Then there's usually somewhere between 6 to 10 questions that there are little tabs for in the upper right corner they can click through. There's things like a line reader that can highlight line by line if that makes it easier for the kids to read. It gives them a lot of options for customizing both the size, the zoom, and the, unfortunately, for the color of the background. So I've seen lots of blue and red and yellow when I've walked in the testing rooms when I get to high school, middle school. There's also, nowadays, they can set it to be a dyslexia-friendly font. So like the first letter of words and sentences is like a little bit bolder to make it easier to see. There's lots of really cool settings and functionality to give kids to just kind of make it a little bit easier for them to work their way through the test.
And you can see the very dramatic shift that happens from K through 2 to 3 through 10 in both the testing platform and the expectations around the test. Really, K through 2 is more about learning to read, right? And then 3 through 10 is about reading to learn. So it's a reading comprehension test first and foremost. And you can see that our teachers in schools actually have to do a lot of support with students on just, especially in 3rd grade where this transition happens, learning the testing platform itself. You have tabs at the top that represent the different questions all for that same passage. So it's a fairly complex assessment platform to navigate. And this is an example of a 4th grade ELA sample item. You see the 2 passages there. They're both about potato chips and the origin of potato chips and the invention, discovery, implementation. And then down below, and you can see the benchmark that it's aligned to, compare and contrast accounts of the same event using a primary and secondary source. And then you can see that the student is identifying which passage or both passages these different elements were present in. So it's not just, again, a straight multiple choice question. The student is identifying within kind of a grid between these 2 passages. So again, a lot of text to process for a series of questions, and then some fairly sophisticated responses for 4th grade. And then here you can see our year-over-year district level performance in grades 3 through 5. Again, a lot of positive results, particularly in 3rd and 5th grade. We're really focusing particularly on 3rd grade this year. We're starting to see some of the results of that work, closing the gap with the state, which we've historically seen. And then I think 5th grade is particularly notable. Again, some really strong improvement over last year, keep maintaining pace with the state. And we're seeing increasing proficiency, throughout elementary school, which is always very positive to see as well. And then here's your district and charter breakdowns for that data as well. Again, lots of positive news about the trajectory of our elementary school students with their reading. This is an example of a 6th grade ELA sample item. So on to middle school, again, same structure, passages, multiple passages, questions aligned to them. this is an interesting question because this is a vocabulary question that's nested within this reading passage, and you can see students actually have to select the word that comes from the Latin word meaning deep, and so they click on the word that of the 4 underlined words that come from that Latin root. And again, this wouldn't be a question in isolation. This would be one of a set of questions that's tailored to this passage. And the 6th grade expectation there, which is that students in 6th grade do have to apply their knowledge of Greek and Latin roots to determine the meanings of words within context. And you'll see that a lot within context with our reading passages. And then here's your 6th through 8th results. So again, you'll see lots of positive areas, growth over last year, again, continual progress being made. I'd say particularly in 6th and 7th grade, we're seeing, we're outpacing the state in that year-over-year growth, and we're narrowing the divide with the state. And then, again, positive growth in 8th grade, but some work and evaluation to do there. And then again, here's your district-operated and charter school year-over-year growth between those two areas.
This is all good stuff.
Lots of good news. And then finally, here's your high school results. This is an example from the 10th grade FAST, which again is a requirement for graduation. And this is again comparing 2 passages related to the standard of comparing 2 opposing arguments. So these are 2 different Senate floor speeches that one was in favor of ending government subsidies for honey farmers, one was opposed to it, and then the students have to answer questions comparing and contrasting those 2 positions on the topic. So that's an example of what students are doing at the high school level. And again, you can see our results for the 9th and 10th grade assessments. Really strong growth in 9th grade, growth year over year in 10th, but again, I think some more work to do there to support student learning, but again, improved across grade levels from last year. And here's our 9th and 10th district and charter breakdown for those particular grade bands. Again, 9th grade's looking really good, outpacing the state. And finally, much like we're doing in math, we are really using semester 2 to focus on instruction and prioritize student learning. Our administrators are working hard and our teachers are working hard to supercharge these last 3 months of instruction and really support students in surpassing the goals we've set for ourselves. So we're continuing to do district progress monitoring. These aren't the only assessments we use. We have lots of internal assessments and tools and programs and instructional resources that are used in our classrooms. We've had principal meetings for data analysis and action planning. So all of our principals have created action plans based on their data about what they're implementing at their school sites in order to move the needle based on what their mid-year results show. We do weekly superintendent data review meetings with Dr. Breslin, where we go over school data across a variety of dimensions, including this data, so that we can target individual schools and needs as we encounter them as a leadership team. We're doing site visits, and we're revising our school support schedule for our schools. And we're continuing to support our principals who are working with their teachers on making whatever mid-year adjustments are necessary. So it really is a systems level approach to monitoring and supporting our schools so that we're happy with seeing the progress we've made mid-year, but we have ambitious goals and we want to continue to accelerate student learning so that we reach those goals by the end of the year.
Finish strong.
Finish strong.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I'd just like to remind the folks out there that the PM1 and PM2 data is what they're supposed to know by the end of the year. You know, parents sometimes get really nervous because their kid didn't score well in PM1 or 2. Well, they're not supposed to know all of that at the beginning of the year.
Right.
This is what they're supposed to know by the end of the year. So I just like to put that out there every time we go over the data to remind our folks in our community that we're testing their growth right now. These scores are not going to be on their permanent record. This is a test of their growth and helps the teachers know what they need to reinforce and what things they may need to cover again. So I just wanted to, one more time, put that out there
I truly appreciate you reiterating that. Yes, that is that's been a learning curve with the progress monitoring system. You know, even a highly gifted, proficient student who traditionally scores 5s on everything, on that first PM is probably not going to be there. They may be a level 2 on the first, which is really, really good considering you're being tested on your entire grade level worth of content that you've never learned. And we typically see those students, you know, make up that ground very rapidly, and by the end of the year, they're showing exactly where they should be. So that's been a dramatic change, and I appreciate the reminder.
And two, we don't know where they're at if we don't test.
Yes,
If
ma'am.
we don't know what focused area that student needs, we're not going to have improvement by the end of the year.
Correct.
So it's just a measurement. I mean, it's just more or less letting our district know and our teachers and staff, but the parents, here's where your student's at. You know, we got some ground to cover, but we're going to get there by the end of the year.
Absolutely.
So, Mr. Joe, anyone else? No? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you both.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, that takes us to consent, but I think probably what we're going to do is do a recess. We're an hour and a half in, if you don't mind. So
Yes,
we'll
ma'am.
come back in 10 minutes.
Sounds
We're-
great.
We're recessed.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
And we are back after a brief recess. And we are on to item number 10 of our agenda, consent. Superintendent?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Board members, the superintendent recommends approval of the consent agenda for the school board meeting, February 10, 2026.
So moved.
I'll second.
And does anyone have any questions on consent? Obviously, we all had our briefings. Okay. Superintendent, you have anything else to add on?
Yes, ma'am, I could go through some of the items if the board would like.
Point of order, Madam Chair. Yeah, per Robert's rules, consent is just
rolls.
pass, no discussion.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we would have to do that at the start.
Okay. And we have a vote for,
Oh, sorry.
sorry.
There we go.
I have an option to vote.
Okay.
But I
Laura,
vote yes.
Laura, if you could, there we go. On that passes.
There we go.
Thank you so much for that. Okay, and on to item number, we do not have another public commenter that I've gotten news of.
Somebody's back for round two?
Pardon me? No, that's all right.
Nothing,
That's
go ahead.
okay. Yeah, that's okay. There was no consent items pulled. New business.
Yes.
Yes, go right ahead.
Yes, ma'am. The superintendent recommends approval to accept nominations for the school name of the new, currently named AAA High School.
And I'm looking for a motion.
Oh, I was waiting for District 5 over there to make.
So moved.
There you go.
All right, there we go.
I'll second. Even though I'm on the other side of town, I'll second.
Okay.
Okay. And is there anyone that have any discussion on that?
I do.
Okay. Mr. Cho?
Question for the superintendent, explain the process, and then once you do that, I do have some thoughts and comments just for the board.
I do too.
Yes, absolutely. So board members, upon approval, we will send out communication district-wide to seek input. It will be via some sort of link that will be sent out and also posted on our website. We are looking for quite a bit of public feedback on this process. We will share this feedback with board members, and then we'll share it with the entire community on April 14th at the board workshop, where we can have further discussion, see if we have landed collectively in one spot, or if we need to gather at that point for the board's direction, additional input, or narrow down if there's some lead contenders at that point.
Thank you. Just to the board, obviously we've done this before. Well, three of us have. I mean, maybe, yes, she did with Parrish.
Sure.
So if, and this is obviously if the board wants to agree with this, and if staff, you all think this may be a good idea or not. But I feel like we should potentially give maybe some guidelines, some guardrails for public to give us their input. And I say that, not taking any words out of your mouth, but I've been up here with you as we were naming schools, and I know that Miss Spray is not really big on people's names for the school. I don't think I would be in favor of that of the high school. We don't have any high schools with names of our past faculty or administrators, etc. So I just don't know if it's something, and I know we could probably sit up here and debate about how minute and what all the details are and all the guidelines and things like that. But I just don't know if because it's just, if we get 1,000 comments back, and a lot of them are this person, this person, this person, this person. First off, it's never easy for us to choose between one great teacher and administrator. One great teacher and administrator kind of puts us in a spot of having to choose between people who have done great things for our district. But I don't know if the board, and I'm just bringing this up. I didn't even bring this up.
Sure.
In my, I just thought about it as we were doing this. Like, do we want to have any kind of guidelines to this, knowing that, hey, we're not taking XYZ, right? So that's it. I'll give that out to the board.
Go ahead.
I'm not a big fan of names either, just so you know. So I'm on board with that guideline at least.
Okay. Yeah, that was really what my thought of the guideline was, like, no names, because I wasn't anticipating, I would not anticipate that we'd pick a name for that. So, but if we get here and we get like 500 comments on, like, and we're putting Evan to work to, like, cycle through and everything, and it's like, that's not even gonna, you know, the Chad Choate High School is not gonna happen, y'all.
No. Right. Go ahead, Ms. Felton.
So if you look at all of our high schools, and actually I do agree on this, if you look at all of our high schools, they're all regionally named. They're named for their location, and some people bring up Southeast High School, but you got to remember, it was the Southeast when it was named. It's not the most south and the most east anymore, but that's okay. But I really like the whole regional naming because it encompasses that whole community. There was obviously a lot of comment about parish community. I was also on the let's make it parish community name side of things myself as a parish resident for many years. I'm not excited about naming it after a neighborhood, which is why I was on the parish community side. I'm just going to say let's not ask for, and I've joked about it, but let's not ask for even further east, Lakewood Ranch High School, as the name. But I would really like the community to think about something regional, something that shows the community, the area, and so it encompasses more than just one small spot. I think it helps bring the community together.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yeah, thank you. I concur with Mrs. Felton that, customarily our high schools are named for geographic areas, and I would like to see that continue. And to Mr. Choate's point, I think that's a good idea. When we put it out for for suggestions, I think we should be clear on that. I think that's a really good idea, which I hadn't even considered. So I did have a question, and Superintendent, maybe you just said this, but at which board meeting will we make the final decision on this?
So we have it penciled into I think the first or second board meeting in May, but it is in May.
Okay.
But it really is dependent on the conversation at the April 14th workshop as to whether or not the board feels like they're coming together on a name, or if there needs to be additional public input. So we'll look to the board members' opinion on that. And then in terms of putting the guardrails, we can certainly in our verbiage put a narrative together as we send out the link for feedback. I think specific guardrails, I'd have to defer to legal, but would have to, I think, some sort of motion from the board if you want something a little more formal than just our verbiage that we send out with the links of public feedback.
Okay. And Madam Chair, just one more
Sure.
question. Just to be sure, I think I'm right on this, but I want to verify. But students at Lake Manatee K through 8, they are zoned to then go to the new high school, correct?
Correct.
They are, okay. All right, that's it for me, thank you.
Well, that leads me right into my ideas. When I look at our schools throughout the district, we have Braden River, L, middle, high. We have Manatee L, Manatee High. Palmetto L, Palmetto High. And with Lake Manatee K8 being the primary feeder, I don't know why we couldn't extend that to Lake Manatee High. That would make sense to me in my thought process of how we've named our schools. That would be my number one choice. And it would be something that I'm going to actively lobby for, because I think it gives that feel that you're actually going from a K-8 or to a K-12 when you're doing that. So I think Lake Manatee, like you said, it's just, how far is it from Lake?
That was going to be my question.
A quarter mile from is it a half mile maybe? It's not very far
From the middle school?
to the K-8.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the K-8's like right off of 64.
Like range.
Right, and it's just,
A mile or so is
just,
crow flies.
okay, a mile. Less than a mile. So, to me, I think that would be something for us to consider. Of course, the public's input's valuable to us, but to me, I think that would be the regional name. And to your point, guidelines, we're not going to accept any individual name.
Yes,
I mean,
ma'am.
that's just something that I've been pretty stern about since I've been on the board, and it sounds like most of us are like that too. But I like the idea of Lake Manatee High and maybe home of the Cougars. Throw that little tidbit out there too. But I think that that would be consistent with the way we've done some of our schools.
What are the other middle schools that will feed into that high school?
I'm going to ask Mr. Clark and Mr. Jensen to make sure to hold me accountable for my answers here, because I don't have the zones in front of me. Lake Manatee, obviously, main feeder, but around there, we will have students that from Mona Jane that go over. What other feeder? Nolan, correct? Yeah.
We're just trying to
Yes.
get it in my head of where all the kiddos are coming from.
And even the percentage of those students from those two schools will be a low percentage compared to what we would get from the K-8.
Eastern portion of Lakewood Ranch zone, right? We took that zone, pretty much split it in half.
Right.
Everything eastern part was going to AAA High.
Okay. But that would be my preference, is to just maintain the Lake Manatee theme for Lake Manatee High. LMH, I think it sounds pretty good. But we'll put it out, and hopefully, you know, Mr.
So do we
Taylor,
want,
can
do we
help it.
want, do we want to just have a language that says we prefer region names, et cetera, no, or is that something that we want to ask legal and to make a motion? Do we have to make a motion and put that out there? My thought process was just like, hey, if someone puts on XYZ name, that's not even like reported back to us.
Right.
Like, I mean, because it's just
Right.
it's just not gonna happen, and so I feel like it's a waste of time to even for us to go through a list and seeing those names. So I don't know if legal, you guys think we need to actually like make a motion on anything like that.
We don't think you should prohibit people from what they want to suggest to the board.
Okay.
But you can make a statement that you're don't favor naming after individuals or something like that. But I don't think you should try to bracket it where you're saying they can't even submit something that you don't like. I think you should allow people to recommend whatever they want.
Okay.
Well, we can phrase our message out to say consistent with the high school naming in this district, prefer nominations be, and I can capture what has been shared by the board.
Right. Okay. Okay, I still have somebody lit up here. Mr. Kennedy, are you finished?
I am, thank you. Yes,
Okay.
I'm done.
Okay, so any other comments from anyone?
I think we still have to vote on that, right?
Right, we
Yeah,
still-
so that's-
yeah, we're
yeah.
ready to vote. And this is just to advertise.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And we're just waiting for, there you go, and that passes 5-0. Looking forward to the feedback we get from the community on that. Okay, under new business, item number 14 is approval for Ms. Felton to travel to Key West for the State Board of Education, not to exceed $600.
So moved.
I'll second.
I was like, somebody else second. I'm not going to second.
Second your own travel.
If I may speak to that, though.
If you would, please, I'd love to know what that's about.
All right, so on the 20th, the State Board of Education is meeting to discuss the new rulemaking that they are putting into place for Schools of Hope. As you know, I have been all over the place talking about Schools of Hope, all over Tallahassee, everywhere else, and so this issue is of course something that's very important to me as well as to the FSBA. And again, as you know, I'm on the advocacy committee, and that this is one of our things that we're working on. I have arranged to crash on the couch of Dr. Sue Woltansky, who is a board member down in the Keys. She has a cottage down there, so I don't need hotel, I don't need food, I just would really like the gas. And so I'm requesting just for mileage, because it is a 7-hour drive down there, but I want to be there as a representative of our district and as a representative of other school board members around the state who cannot get there, because it is obviously very, very far. And I feel like it's important for us to be represented at this meeting, because we have been fighting on this since September.
I would urge you to coordinate with Dr. Breslin and the attorneys on anything that might need to be shared from a legal standpoint here.
Yeah.
So work with Ms. Felton on whatever she needs on that. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
Quick
Go ahead.
I have a little bit of a concern in the fact that we as a board haven't professed any way feeling towards the School of Hope issue, other than I think we all kind of agree that the co-locate is not compatible, etc. My concern is that this isn't going to be somewhere to lobby and talk to legislators. The Department of Education obviously are not elected officials, right? They're appointed. I don't know the benefit of going, even if it was here in Manatee County, I don't see the benefit of going to it from a school, like our board standpoint. The fact of the matter is that, at least in Manatee County, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe even the state, I don't know a school that has actually been taken over by the Schools of Hope. We obviously got 2 letters, haven't heard anything since November. Well, I know they gave it to us in October, wrongly. But haven't heard anything since November. Haven't gotten a response back, a rebuttal. Correct? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I just don't see the benefit. I don't see a benefit of going down there from a board standpoint. If the board says, hey, yes, go down there, I'm not going to vote no for you not to go down there. But I don't see the benefit, how it benefits us to go to the Board of Education and poke and prod an issue that I think they're trying to fix a little bit of glitch from what last week, all the meetings last week that I had. They're trying to do some glitch fixing, etc. But I'm not going to say no to you going if you feel like you need to go. I just want to make sure that, like we've said from the very beginning with this issue, this is definitely a personal, strong issue that you have with this. And I'm not saying we all are separate from those issues or your feelings. But what if there's something comes up that all of a sudden we're like, hey, I want to go to so-and-so because it's about this particular issue, and the board hasn't ever voted and said we're going to fight against this and we're going to go against this. I don't, it's a cause of concern to rally and go with an issue as a board when, one, we haven't voted on if we're going to even jump in that, and 2, something that's not really affecting us to begin with. Those are just some of my concerns. But I'm not going to vote no against you going. If the board's like, hey, yes, I'm not going to go 4-1 against us all saying we're okay to send you down there. But those are just my concerns of going down there in general.
May I?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so you're on the assumption that I'm going to go poke and prod.
I don't know.
So I'm telling you I'm not. That's not my intent. But we did, as a board, vote to go along with the FSBA legislative priorities and the Florida Consortium legislative priorities, of which this is on both of those. So generally, we did support expressing our concerns about Schools of Hope because we as a board supported those legislative priorities. So that's how I'm seeing it. Also, I think it's important to acknowledge to the Board of Education that we are thankful that they are paying attention to our issues. And that, because I have been very vocal, I would like to take the opportunity to say that I appreciate that they are listening. I mean, I feel like they should go further, considerably further, but as somebody who has been vocal, and I'm sure some of them know it, to be able to express that I appreciate that they have addressed things way more than I thought and many of us thought they would. So I feel like that is also an important reason to go.
Okay, thanks.
Go ahead.
So are you going to be, is there like a testifying process where you can, are you on the schedule already, or you just stand up and talk? Or I'm just curious.
You can, just like any committee meeting or anything in Tallahassee, you can submit your request to speak. And
Okay.
depending on how many people will determine how much time they give you, but it's usually 2 or 3 minutes.
Well, for $600, I mean, if it was $6,000, I might have a different opinion. I would just ask you, as Mr. Choate said, to really try and limit your comments to what we have agreed upon, at least as far as promoting the FSB or approving the FSBA legislative agenda and the consortium agenda. And yeah, there's probably a line there between going past that into and representing the board as your on your own personal, with your own personal opinions. But
I promise not to poke the bear.
okay. On the other, I mean, I think there's some value having, if you're in the room and you have a chance to talk to people, maybe some state board members on the side to see what, why they're thinking what they're thinking, and have those conversations, and then come back and report to us in a public forum. I think there's probably some benefit. Maybe like if there's a decision made, like I'm thinking through this because I have some concerns like Mr. Choate does, but it's always good to be in the room, just to be a fly on the wall. And so let's say that a board member, the board votes a particular way, and we're all kind of like, I wonder why that happened. And you can, pull someone aside at the end and say, why did the board vote that way? Or why did you vote that way? And you have some insight into that. I think probably for $600, it's worth it. So yeah, just you're a smart lady. You know how to handle it. So yeah, I'll support it. But I hear your concern, Mr. Choate, and I hear what you're saying. So that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll be quick. I think that's a valid concern that's been raised. Mrs. Felton has assured us she will adhere to board-approved positions, and but I think it is a good. So I'm going to vote for it, obviously. But I think it is a good reminder for all of us when we go to events and this is coming from somebody who in 2019, there is that line between your positions and the board positions, and I have in the past learned from my mistakes because I stepped out of that position because I felt strongly about something. And, but so I think it's always good to, remind each other. It's, we are a board, we act as a board even when we're in the minority. We still have to represent this body. We have to we have to represent the majority votes of this body. But I believe Heather, I'm sure this, she has assured us that will not be a problem, and I believe her. So.
And please also understand that if I am going to do anything contentious, I would never do it in the name of the board. I would speak as an individual, as a community member. I would never do anything to bring any ire down on our board. Anybody wants to be mad at me, they're welcome to do so, but I would not want to have anybody direct anything at the board or the district or our superintendent based on my own personal feelings, and I would present that as my own personal feelings. I was actually going to mention this during comments, but it ties in. When we were in Tallahassee 2 weeks ago, Mr. Tatum and I, and I was presenting information about Schools of Hope. I presented facts. I did not throw my emotions in there. I gave them the documentation of this is how much it's going to cost our district per student, which they were all very appreciative of. Everybody I met, both sides of the aisle, both houses, was very appreciative to have that information, to see that there is a cost to the district per child. It comes out to about $2,500 for Manatee if we were to have a School of Hope. That's per child in our district. And as many of the representatives and senators up there were not aware when they voted that there would be a cost put onto the districts. Some of them even said they didn't know about the co-location, and they were saying this is not what we voted for. So to just bring them the facts of the matter has been my whole purpose in this, is to make sure that they are aware of what they voted for. They're aware of the impacts on the district. And as we know, the unfunded and underfunded mandates are a burden. And to present to them, this is the burden that you're going to be placing on districts, and this is just one of them. So that has been my whole trajectory in this, is to not throw in emotions, not to pitch a fit or stomp my feet, but to make sure that I am presenting this is the facts of the matter, and this is why we have concerns.
My question would be, was this meeting talked about with FSBA while you were there and with the Greater Consortium? And are there other members of both of those organizations going?
There are other members of FSBA. The consortium meets this week. I leave tomorrow for Tallahassee for the consortium. And I know it will be part of the conversation tomorrow night during our dinner meeting.
Okay. My only caution to the wind is to make sure that, because we haven't had any response.
Mm-hmm.
We've put in our legal opinion, we've put in all of our information to the Department of Education. So I would just urge you to stay within those parameters, and I think you will. I don't have any doubt that you wouldn't. But at the same time, it's hard to separate you as an individual when we're sending you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, you can't disconnect. You can't.
And
take
I
that
won't
hat off.
I won't take the hat off. This
Right.
is not a personal
Right.
thing for me. This is
Right.
Yeah.
But you said that, you would talk as a community member or whatever. We really can't.
Oh,
I mean,
I'm sorry. Let me clarify. I did not mean that at this occurrence. I meant in
Okay.
some other
Okay.
thing, not for this meeting.
Okay. So I would urge, does she have copies of letters? I'm sure you have the letters and everything that we've responded with legal and anything that may have developed before she goes.
Yes, ma'am. As always, if you have any requests, we're happy to meet those.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
I had one more comment.
Go ahead.
If ever this is kind of a general idea, if ever we did want to do something, because we're all elected officials, right? And I still reserve my First Amendment rights to speak if I thought maybe something the board was doing I wasn't in favor of it, I didn't support it. But in that case, I think it would be appropriate, like if I were going to go to a state education meeting or something like it and testify, I would go on my own dime, right? But as long as you're representing something that we've all agreed upon, and we have through the FSB legislative agenda as well as the consortium agenda, I don't have any problem spending government money on this as long as you kind of follow the guidelines that we've all talked about here. But I do want to make the point that I could see a point where someone could go and do something on their own time as a community member. You still have your First Amendment rights. It probably just wouldn't be appropriate at that point to use government funds to do it. We would just say, hey, I'm kind of opposed to whatever our general policy is. I'm going to go testify with the state legislature, but it'll be on my own dime. But in this case, I'm going to support it. So.
Thank you all.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Did the vote happen?
We're ready for the vote. Right. Charlie?
My bad. Just got distracted,
And
sorry.
also safe travels.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And 1, 2. That takes us down to item number 17, updates. Mr. Jensen, instructional. No, 17. Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Item 16 is just information only. It's a grant application. So, okay, Mr. Jensen.
Thank you very much. On the instructional side, our VEX Robotics District competitions are complete for the year. We had 2 amazing weekends of teamwork, both at Hale Middle School and Southeast High School, where students were collaborating, problem solving, and innovating and competing in the robotics competition where they designed robots to compete in a game. We're going to have 15 elementary teams that represent 7 schools and 7 middle school teams representing 5 schools go to the state competition as a result of those regional competitions. States is February 28th for elementary and March 1st for middle and Claremont. So I want to thank Lynn Johnston, the curriculum team, and our amazing STEM teachers for putting on such robust and incredible robotics events over the last 2 weeks. As you know, we also completed an amazing science fair season this year. We had more than 350 projects competing in this year's science fair, which was a record number. And our awards for secondary students were held on Thursday, January 29th, where more than 100 awards were given to students. Best in Show for middle school was awarded to Emerson C. from Harvey K-8 for her project titled Seawalls to the Rescue, Which Seawall Works Best? And our Best in Show for high school, and you'll have to forgive me for this one, was awarded to Manal C. from Southeast High School for her project titled Electrochemical Detection of Sodium Dodecylbenzene Sulfonate using biochar modified and graphene screen printed electrodes as a model compound for PFAS detection. I love them too. They're way smarter than me. So we will send 20 projects from middle school and high school to the State Science and Engineering Fair in Lakeland next month. And then we will also send 4 students from Southeast and Lakewood Ranch High School to attend the International Science and Engineering Fair in Phoenix, which happens in May. And then, of course, we give school awards for our top-performing schools. Our top-performing middle school was Nolan, and our top-performing high school and science fair was Southeast High School this year. So congratulations to everyone involved. As a reminder to families, tomorrow, Wednesday, February 11th, is early dismissal day, so schools will use the early release to hold professional learning for teachers and staff members. In MTC news, Main Campus has an open house and career fair this Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m., so please stop in and see what MTC Main has to offer. Last week, MTC East had their open house, and they ended up with over 200 applications completed last week for their programs. And some programs may fill up this week, so make sure to fill out the applications ASAP. Last week, we sent out a survey to families to ask about school start times and family perceptions of school quality. We already have more than 1,500 responses to that survey, and we're excited about the insights the data will provide so we can continue to improve as an organization. We'll share those survey results in board briefings with you as Evan continues to analyze them. He's very excited, as well as part of an upcoming school start time board workshop. And then finally, for major athletic events going on, we have some great things happening around the district. The girls weightlifting state championship begins Wednesday, the 11th in Lakeland. Bayshore High School will be competing there. Braden River will also be competing on the 12th in Lakeland in girls weightlifting. Braden River has boys basketball hosting Cape Coral in the regional quarterfinals on Saturday. Girls basketball is away playing Hillsborough in the regional quarterfinals on Friday. And then Braden River also has wrestling girls districts on the 13th and boys districts on the 19th. Lakewood Ranch has the girls state weightlifting championships on the 11th. They also have girls soccer on the 11th playing Sickles in the regional semifinal. And on the 12th, boys soccer is playing Sickles in the regional semifinal. Manatee High School is going to have 3 representatives at the girls state weightlifting meet on Wednesday. Manatee girls basketball will also be hosting a regional quarterfinal game on Friday after winning the district championship. Palmetto High School will be participating in the girls weightlifting on 211 as well. Parrish will be participating in weightlifting on 211 also. They'll also have girls soccer regional semifinal on the 11th. They'll also have boys basketball regional quarterfinals on the 14th and boys wrestling districts on the 19th. And finally, Southeast High School will also be joining everyone at the Girls Weightlifting State Championship on 2/11 in Lakeland. So not only do we have great brains in our district, but we have great athletes in our district as well. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. And operations, Mr. Clark?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, board members, Dr. Breslin. I'll start off with an operations job fair recap and update. So we had a operations job fair on January 8th, where we had 174 attendees, as you recall. Our next operations update or job fair will be on February 19th. That's from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. at Wakeland. We hosted a teacher para virtual job fair on January 13th. We had 63 attendees. Our next teacher virtual job fair will be on February 24th, and that'll be from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. We hosted a Pathways to Teaching informational meeting. The superintendent was there on January 21st, did a good job of speaking. We had 54 attendees there, prospects, so that looks well, bodes well for the future for us. Our recruiting team has a couple upcoming events coming up: MTC Spring Career Fair, high school career fairs, and then we're going to go on a out-of-state trip to Pennsylvania for a teacher career fair. There's a number of teacher colleges and colleges in the area, so it's pretty cool up there, as you can imagine. So we're going to try to entice them to come down to some of this nice weather we have here, especially in March. Maybe not so nice now, but by the time March comes, it'll be really nice. And then Paris Heritage Festival coming up, so our recruiting teams will be at those events. As you know, the Winter Olympics are taking place, and USA is doing pretty well, right? We have 4 medals, 2 gold, 2 silver, and if you're like me, I've been kind of glued to the TV. I was watching that curling last night. That's so exciting, watching that stone. I don't know how they get that stone to move an inch, but exciting, and so I've been watching that. Well, as you know, we have our Well U Olympic Challenge going on right now to go on until the end of the month. You remember we talked about the step ski jumping and how we convert the steps into distance for jumping, because we can't risk our staff doing too much jumping. I don't know if you watched any of those events. That's kind of scary. So we just do the steps, monitor that, track that, and then we give out awards for it. We have the hydration hockey that's going on, and that'll go right to the end of the month. People can still join in, and we just want to encourage people to stay healthy, right, and promote health. So that's what those are all about. For a transportation update, we've received 19 of the 20 buses we've ordered, so that's pretty impressive. Normally there had been a delay. They've sped up. So we're working those buses to make sure they get into our workforce, driving force. So we're pretty happy with that. So we only have 1 bus that's left for us to get. Our transportation department will be hosting 2 statewide events coming up in April. The Florida Association for Pupil Transportation, which Mr. Warrington is the president of, they're going to have a spring driver trainers workshop. That'll be April 6th here in town. So that's, the safety departments for other districts in the state will be here, and they'll go do training on CDL training and other requirements. So that's pretty neat. And then we're going to have a FAPT school bus safety skills competition, a rodeo. We've had that in the past, and we'll be hosting it. That's for all the districts in the state. We'll send teams down, and the skills with obstacle courses and what have you, all safety related. That'll be at Bayshore High School on April 11th. So that'll be a pretty neat event. Construction update. Veterans, I think last time I talked to you, we were in the 20% complete. We're over 30% complete. They're putting up walls, and we got a pond. That first retention pond is complete, which is pretty neat. It's huge. We could call it a lake. I think it's that big. But so that's in play. Next up for them, they'll do the fireproofing and some of those things, and then ultimately get that roof on top. Rye Ranch is over 50%. The roof is on. They're doing drywall. they're really coming along humming there. So we're feeling good about that. Getting ready to do some chiller piping, getting that prepared to have the chillers ready to go. And then, you know, your AAA, as you know, we're in the dirt. So we're really excited about that. So that concludes my update.
Awesome. Thank you. Legal?
Thank you, Chair.
Mm-hmm.
That comment on curling, I think that was actually more exciting than the Super Bowl we just had to watch. Wanted to point out to the board, I don't know if you're paying attention, the social media litigation that's going on in California. The board is a part of that litigation and is a stakeholder. So you may just find interest in the legal arguments that are being made by both sides. Primarily whether the social media companies have caused harm to students and to children intentionally. So it's they obviously didn't settle that case like the vaping case got settled before it went to trial. Ongoing, just progress for what I'm working on. The PAL Center, I'll be circulating a draft agreement very soon, this week I believe, creating a structure on how to move forward with that project. And you'll see a copy of that. Affordable housing will be meeting, the attorneys will be meeting with Mr. Vengroff soon to also discuss how to move forward and structure that project legally. And then the Jones Farm real estate contract, that's not quite ready to come back to you. Continuing to negotiate it. Had a few issues come up, but we're making good progress there. So I'm hoping to get that to you probably in March.
March.
That'll be on my report.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Mr. Penley, anything?
I have nothing to add to that, Madam Chair.
Okay. Superintendent?
Thank you, Madam Chair, board members. Some updates to share with you today and our public, just to review some of the items on consent. Thank you for your support of these items. We are celebrating Dr. Melinda Lundy and Mrs. Laura Campbell as on the HR agenda, moving over to Veterans and Rye Ranch as previously shared, as well as Callie Angies and Kim DeLeo, interim principals for both Terra and Bayshore Elementary. Very excited, and the feedback from the schools overwhelmingly supportive of those, so thank you. Additionally, receiving $75,000 to support our district threat management coordinator, Steve Cronus, who's doing an amazing job with his team. Board, just to let you know, our state portal, which we launched this year statewide for threat management, shows that we have successfully as a district held at the district level 893 threat assessments. And in doing so, we're able to get supports for students who are exhibiting that they are going through some trauma. So good information there. We also were able to go through in the consent agenda 2 more agreements to have additional interns for our district, some work development agreements with both the Oyster Rock Hospitality Group with John and Amanda Horn, who are constant supporters of the district, as well as Orchid Dermatology, and then additionally receiving funds back to our capital funds, refunds, an amount of over $366,000. So really excited about those items on consent. Moving forward, a couple other updates. Celebrate Literacy Week was a huge success. Of course, it aligned with the 250th anniversary of our country. In elementary schools alone, we had 502 guest readers. Such a huge response from our community who come into our schools and spend time with our students in such a positive way. A couple other highlights: Ballard Elementary School participated with Celebrating America with some veteran readers, which is really exciting. Gullet Elementary Middle School students, Ramona Jane, came to read to students at Gullet. Manatee Elementary had guest readers from the Bradenton Police Department. Thank you, Bradenton Police Department, for working with our students. The middle school level, additionally, Mike Mullen went over to Stewart Elementary and read to 5th graders. So he capitalized not only in reading with the fifth graders, but also meeting potentially some of his future students heading into King Middle next year. Additionally, TSA, I was able to see both VEX competitions that Mr. Jensen shared with you earlier. TSA had a huge regional event, and in fact, it was the largest event in the state for TSA, other than the state competition. That is how large TSA and how successful it is in our district. We had 904 registered participants from Manatee, Sarasota, Hillsborough counties. And we had 100 volunteer judges. And again, we can't do this without the support we get from our community. And so huge thanks on that. And then our advisors, our teachers who make all these things happen. We've had some awards go to Lee Middle, Mona Jane, and Palmview to their advisors and their support with our TSA programming. And then Choice, we wrapped up Choice in January. Great job by OSA, led by Jamara Clark. And Kevin Chapman as well. We received 2,545 controlled open enrollment applications, 445 applications for ACE and IB programming, 1,483 total out-of-zone applications, and our legacy and founders, as approved by the board in conjunction with our rezoning. We had 649 legacy applications and 61 founder applications. So I would say the communication, the Choice Fair on January 24th, and the amount of families who took advantage of the Choice opportunities was huge in this district. This week tomorrow, we'll be going to the Anshin Center, and I say we, Derek Jensen, Kevin Chapman, we're bringing in our Director of ESC, our Director of Elementary Programming, to continue working with Pinellas and Hillsborough County and the Anshin Leadership Center at USF to continue our work and our focus in supporting ESC students and their learning, third grade reading achievement, and improving our absenteeism rates. And then finally, I was able to participate with FADS in a mandatory program prior statute, but also a very good program with the Chief Executive Office Leadership Development Program. And board members, that work continues on for the next year. I'll be developing a portfolio, which will be judged and evaluated, as well as doing monthly reflections and working within a cohort to really be sure that all superintendents in the state of Florida have the leadership skills necessary to continue to see achievements statewide in Florida. And those are my updates. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Board comments. I have Felton, Kennedy, Choate, Tatum, Spray.
Okay. Obviously, I've already spoken a little bit about the Tallahassee trip at the end of the last month. It was the FSBA's day at the legislature. Mr. Tatum and I both went. I thought it was a very productive trip. We were able to meet with a representative from Senator Gruder's office, as well as Representatives Robinson, Connerly, and Owen. And I'm sure Mr. Tatum will have things to say about his own perceptions, but I felt like it was a very good, productive trip, and we were very well received, and they had listened to things we had to say and took notes, which was great. I was also able to sit in on a committee meeting and spoke at the committee meeting. Was for a bill that would allow a parent in of a self-contained student, particularly nonverbal student, to put a camera in the class and to keep an eye on their student during the day. So if the child comes home with a bruise, that they're able to go back and look at the footage, because the child may not be able to state how they got that. I did speak to the fact that it's not funded, and to request that they find some funding for it, and that because putting up a camera may not be super expensive, but if they want to have the faces of all other children blurred out, that is either going to be very expensive software, or that's going to be somebody's time. Particularly if you need to go back and look at several full days. That's 7-8 hours of footage that you have to go in and blur out children's faces, and that's somebody's time that we're going to have to pay to do that. So I spoke about the need for finding funding for that. And so that was my contribution there. I did also meet Representative Blanco, who requested that I meet with him this week. So I have an appointment to see him this week when I go up tomorrow for the Florida Consortium meeting days at the Capitol as well. Just a couple fun things. Fun things are good. I was able to go to 2 of the 4 VEX robotics days. Had a great time. The kids are amazing with the robots they build and the things they're able to accomplish with them. Some of them are incredibly creative and held together with like 47 rubber bands, and they only get a minute to complete the task. It's just really neat to watch. And every year the task is different. So to the public, if you haven't seen VEX, go online. We've got lots of videos posted. It's really neat to see. Obviously, I went to the STEM fair as well. I'm afraid I missed the TSA thing. I already had a thing scheduled. And some of us made it out to the career fair at MTC East, which was very neat as well to see so many people there walking around, checking out the programs that we had available. And obviously, we've already heard about how many people we've had apply. It's been this time of year is of course very busy. There's a lot going on, but we're all trying to hit as many things as we can. And I appreciate all the invites we get from staff and notifications of things, because there's a lot going on and it's hard to keep track. So please continue to send us invites to those things so we can come to the ones that we're able to, because it's always great to get out there and see what our teachers and our kids are up to. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kennedy?
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. I have a little potpourri here, so I'll try to be quick.
Take your time.
Mr. Clark brought up the Olympics and curling, and so I had to share this because anytime I can work in a Seinfeld reference, I'm going to do that. There's a curling athlete who I believe is from Denmark, and her name is Rochelle. So if you're a fan of Seinfeld, you remember that joke about the one woman's journey from Milan to Minsk. So anyway, just thank you, Mr. Clark, for making me laugh this morning. It's always good when we can do serious work, but also have some fun while we're doing it. I want to thank our public commenters for being here tonight. Like everything, public comment varies in quality, and I want to focus on and I apologize, I'm blanking on her name, but the parent who came up to advocate for starting school later. My board colleagues, you may not be aware, but I brought this idea and that website,
2018?
2016.
Your time.
Startschoollater.net. So if you need any information on how districts around the country are pulling this off and have been for many years, regardless of the size of the district or the demographics or their location, small, large, rural, urban, there are school districts all around the country who have made this work for the betterment of adolescents, really teenagers, because really the movement is targeted at, as she mentioned, as our commenter mentioned, it's about changes that happen to the brain around 12, 13 years old. And that's why teenagers begin to start sleeping in later. Like when we're little kids, we're up at 6 a.m. annoying our parents. But when we're teenagers, we're sleeping in as late as we can. And so, but all the research shows that when you start school later, around 8:30 a.m. or later for high school, all it does is benefit kids and their health and their academics and so forth. So I was glad that she was here to kind of bring that back. I tried on a previous board. I didn't get anywhere. There was a lot of pushback from the public about what are we going to do about jobs? What are we going to do about transportation? What are we going to do about sports? And I would always say to people, there are hundreds of districts around the country that have answered all of these questions. And I remember, in fact, Superintendent Breslin and I, even way back then, had a couple conversations about this possibility. I'm really glad the Florida legislature, it finally got on their radar. We've had some fits and starts with it, but, and as the superintendent mentioned, we're now doing the survey, and I look forward to seeing that data. But all the evidence is there. It's really something we really must prioritize for the benefit.
What's the website again?
Startschoollater.net, all one word, Start School Later. Quick mention of the Excellence in Education Awards, again, to the team, to our school district team who are responsible for putting that event together. You did an incredible job. It just gets better every year. Our winner, our para of the year, or excuse me, support employee of the year was Mara Gonzalez. Was Mara? Was she from Onico? Does anybody?
Bayshore Elementary.
Oh, it was Bayshore L. Thank you. So Miss Gonzalez from Bayshore L and Cliff Dawson from Braden River High School. And I mentioned this to Mara when we were on stage taking pictures, but something she said during her acceptance really stuck with me, and I just wanted to thank her for including that. But she said, when you work with kids, you get something from them that you can get from no other job. And I think that's why many of us in this room and in this building started our careers as educators, because it really does, it just gives you fulfillment. Or speaking for myself, it gave me, because I'm not teaching anymore, but just a fulfillment and quality that I will probably never be able to find again. And then I do have a request. When we were having the attendance zone discussion, I went on to the website to look for our map, and I had a little bit of trouble finding it, and I Googled it, and what is on our attendance page is the address lookup, which will then take you to the information regarding, but just a request for the superintendent, if we could make sure we have our new maps posted on the website because I'm sure other people are now going to start having that conversation in their households or with their community groups. So we'll just have that visual up there so folks
Absolutely.
can kind of see the county as a whole and where they go. So that said, I again want to thank all my board colleagues, superintendent and team. A lot, so do I. But our presentation on career and tech ed, they are here thanking us for supporting them, but we should be thanking them because they are the ones on the ground doing the work with our students and getting them to the next steps. And I wanted to say this to Mrs. Ron, but we were going a little long, so I didn't. But people like Miss Ron, they probably have no idea how many kids' lives they have affected. But just hearing her story and her background and everything she goes through, past and present with these students, and every now and then as a teacher, somebody comes back like, "Hey, I remember something you did, and thanks for that," and it kind of set this light bulb off, like, "Oh wow, I didn't even know that comment meant something to you." It was, but it took me back to that. That educators often, we get positive feedback, but that's usually just the tip of the iceberg for a quality educator. And I really appreciate them being here and sharing the work they do. So that's it, Madam Chair. I appreciate it. Thanks for another good meeting.
First, thank you, staff and everybody, for the meeting today and getting everything together. We get up here and say yes to consent items and things like that, whatever, and then all of a sudden, we did something, but you guys put everything together, and hours and days and weeks of work to even get to one meeting. So thank you all very much. This is the first board meeting since, I believe it was, since the school choice fair and STEM fair. Yeah. Unbelievable. If you didn't get out there, it was incredible. First off, kudos to the county and the TWC and stuff, because the new facilities at the convention center are great, phenomenal. But the amount of families, and so the year before, we did the STEM day, and the amount of families, though, I don't know the numbers, but I'm going to assume there was more this year than last year. I'm guessing. It was wild. I was there right when the doors opened. Parking lot was already full. Yep. I didn't even get to use our free voucher on coffee because the line was so long the whole time. Right.
Same.
But I will say it was incredible. I thought the atmosphere and the energy was amazing. I had probably, I'd say 4 or 5 friends of mine that were there with their kids. Multiple reasons they were competing in the math. Was it math challenge? It's not math challenge.
Superstars.
Math superstars. But it was incredible, and a lot of full moms, dads, even grandparents. It was incredible. So kudos to that team. I know it's not easy to pull off an event like that. So to Mr. Chapman, all your team, and Derek, all your team, Mr. Jensen, all your team, phenomenal job. Not easy. Definitely not easy to pull that together. Had a good meeting with Bayshore High School, Mr. Cooper and Ms. Scarborough, about things happening over there, some of my visits. Sorry I wasn't able to be at the awards and excellence, but very happy for the winners and even the nominees. It's incredible just to be nominated for that, but always a great event. Sorry that I couldn't go to that. We were in Tallahassee, and advocating for us here in the district. Great meetings. It was obviously the Manatee County Day. A lot of great stuff happening. Had some interaction, a little more than usual because of Manatee County Day. We got a little more time with certain legislatures, especially ours, because there was like a special time for them to come up and talk and do some stuff. Where most of the time we're in Tallahassee, it's like a 30-minute meeting, 15-minute meeting, and their aide is knocking on the door at 14 minutes, like you got to get out. Yeah. So a little bit nicer. Just so we had some more time. But I will say, I had some great discussions with Representative Kennedy, who's the head of the education on the House side, Senate side. Senator Simon, just had some really good conversations about obviously schools of hope came up, unfunded mandates. What else? Our appropriation, asking them to support our appropriation, which I think is important, early learning. And of course, when I said that, Senator Boyd and Representative Robinson are putting it through, they were like, yeah, you probably won't have an issue with that, which is encouraging. We're lucky who we have representing us here in Manatee County up there for sure. But it was great. And I will say just something to put on the board's radar, and I put it on their radar, the staff's radar in my last meeting, board briefing. One of the bills that's going through, and it's been something that even I was working on a couple of years ago and had many discussions with the Commissioner of Education at the time, Manny Diaz, Mr. Diaz, or Commissioner Diaz. We just couldn't find a way to get through, but there is a bill. Obviously, I was a football coach, or I was a coach in general, multiple sports. In my family, there's coaches. My good friends are coaches. I know Ms. Spray was a coach. And so coaches' pay is very near and dear to my heart, or lack thereof. And so there is finally the legislature is going to be doing something about it. And so there's some stuff that in a bill, there's multiple things in the bill, but there is talk about allowing districts to do some things with coaches' pay, coaches' positions, etc., that I'm excited about. There's at least going to be options and choices for us to do. Maybe all of it doesn't work, maybe it doesn't make sense, etc., but at least there's now options and choices for us to look at. So to all the coaches out there, you're finally being heard, and what you do is important. And talk about affecting people's lives. All of our sponsors and coaches that put in extra time after that bell rings do amazing stuff and affect a lot of kids' lives. So that was what happened in Tallahassee. Other than that, that's it.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Safe travels to you to Tallahassee this week.
Yes, safe travels. Be safe out there, right? Safety first. Which leads me into what I'll talk about. So other than to say thank you to everyone who prepares these meetings, I won't cover the same ground about all the events. I'll just say ditto to what you've all already said. So I'm going to do my couple minutes of leadership here, and I'll have a little safety message tied into that at the end. So I'd like to talk about the importance of trust. I think we have a video. It's just about a little over 2 minutes long and has a little bit of humor in it. So let's take a look at that. If the guys in the AV room could cue that up, please. I think we have it prepared. Here we go. Colin
My name is
Powell.
Amy Wilkinson. I'm a White House Fellow. My question is how you would define the key characteristics of effective leadership that allow you to go and be an advocate for good.
Trust. The longer I have been in public service and the more people have asked me about leadership over the years, leadership ultimately comes down to creating conditions of trust within an organization. Good leaders are people who are trusted by followers. Leaders take organizations past the level that the science of management says is possible. One of my sergeants back in the infantry school at Fort Benning almost 50 years ago, which is where I learned everything I ever got to learn about leadership, was at the infantry school. And he said to me one day, he said, "Lieutenant, you'll know you're a good leader when people follow you, if only out of curiosity." I've never had a better definition. Because what he was saying, and I've seen it experienced in my life so many times, what he was saying is they trust you. And you have built up that trust. How did you do it? Clear mission and statement, selfless service. People look to you and they trust you because you're serving selflessly as the leader, not self-serving, selflessly. And that you prepare the followers, you train them. You give them what they need to get the job done. Don't give them a job if you're not going to give them the resources, and that you're prepared to take the risks with them. And so they would teach us at the infantry school, no matter how cold it is, Lieutenant, you must never look cold. No matter hungry you all are, Lieutenant, you must never appear hungry. No matter how terrified you are, Lieutenant, you must never look terrified. Because if you are scared, terrified, hungry, and cold, they will be scared, terrified, hungry, and cold. I've gotten away with that many, many times in the course of my career by being scared to death, cold, and wanting to go to sleep. But no, let's go. Let's keep going. Let's go around this corner, if only out of curiosity. And they'll follow you into the darkest night, down the deepest valley, up the highest hill, if they trust you. So the essence of leadership is about doing all that the science of management says you can with resources, but then taking it that extra step and giving it that spark. And that spark comes from getting people to trust you so that they will follow you, if only out of curiosity. Thank you.
So what I thought was very interesting about that video is a couple things. Number one is immediately when he was asked what's the key component of leadership, trust came right out of his mouth, right? And this is a guy who is a great American leader, obviously was a National Security Advisor, Secretary of State, Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces. Second thing is when I used to do my leadership work, I came to the conclusion one day, and I don't know how this came to me, but that we've all heard that trust is earned. And I thought about that for a while, and I thought, no, that's the wrong word. At least I'll propose this to us all to chew on, that trust is actually given. It's not earned. And I'll explain what I mean. So earned is like when we give out high school diplomas, if a student does everything on the checklist, he or she earns that diploma, and we have to give it to him, right? It's been earned. But trust is something. I thought about this too. Let's say there's a checklist, like how to court a lady, and so I go down the whole checklist, right? I do it all, right? I'm a good guy, right? No friends with benefits. I ask the parents, and I go to the lady and I say, "Would you marry me?" And she says, "No." And I'm like, "Why not? I did the courting checklist. I filled it all out. Haven't I earned your love?" And she's like, "Not." "Yeah, you did the checklist, but I don't trust you. I don't love you, right?" Like, it's given. And trust is the same thing. I've come to realize that it's not necessarily earned. We can do the trust checklist. We can tell the truth, keep our promises, show up on time, get our work in on time, and do all the things. And yet someone may look at us and say, I don't know. I don't trust you. So I used to do this very interesting exercise when I did my leadership courses, and I would have people fill out a piece of paper. How do I know that if I ask you, how do I know you're trustworthy, what would you write down? And they would write down the trust checklist. I keep my promises. I show up on time. I don't lie. I don't cheat. I don't steal, you know. And then I would tell them this little story about a reporter who went into a little Amish town one day, and he was going to write a local newspaper article on trust, and the Amish people are known for being trustworthy. So he finds this elderly man sitting on a bench, and he goes up to him and he says, "Sir, I'm from the local newspaper. I'm going to write a report on trust. Can I have a few comments with you?" And the guy says, "Yeah, sure." So he said, "Sir, would you write down on a piece of paper how I know that you're a trustworthy person?" So the older man takes the pen, he writes down a few comments, he hands it back to the newspaper reporter, and the reporter looks at it and he says, I don't know what's on there other than just a few names. And the old man smiles and he says, "If you want to know if I'm a trustworthy person, those are the names of my friends and my family and my coworkers. How about you go ask them?" Right? What he's saying is, I don't know if I'm trustworthy. Go ask them. It has to be given. And the last point I'll make on that then is that trust and safety go together in our environment, because if someone is struggling with something and they need someone to talk to, or struggling with, thoughts of hurting themselves, or they know somebody is maybe going to hurt somebody else or something like that, they're only going to come to people that they trust, right? So it's really important that we build this trust with people, and one of the best ways to do that, you've heard me say it before, is to see people as human beings and not as objects, because when they know that you see them as a human being and they literally feel like the oxytocin in their brain tells them this is somebody I can trust, that's the beginning of the trust development process. So I'll end with that. Thank you for your time today, and maybe next time we'll talk more about how to see people as human beings and not as objects. And that's all I have, Madam Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, first, thank you for sharing the workshop in my absence. I don't have a whole lot to add, but I will say to Mr. Choate's comments about coaching. Coaching is more than a student on a field or on a court. It's about leadership. Kids will sometimes remember their coach more than they will their math teacher. And that's the relationships you build with your students as a coach. And I had the same conversation, didn't know you had that conversation, but I had that conversation a year and a half ago about coaches and pay. So I'm glad you brought that up. We have a couple of things coming up. I just wanted to mention that we have a chamber event on the 12th. The fire graduations at MTC are coming up on the 17th, and our next board meeting is not until the 24th. So you got a lot of flex time in there, although there'll be a lot of things going on with everybody else's personal calendars, I'm sure. But I want to thank the staff and superintendent for everything that you've done and helped me along as I've been healing. So with that, I don't have anything else, and this meeting is now adjourned.
All right. Thank you.